Are you ready?
It's going to be a hot girl disco summer. I'm never doing that again. I apologize. Why did I do that? Why did I do that? Here, let's fix it. Something cool. Are we live? Is this thing on? You bet your booty we're live and this thing's on. And I'm joined by a guy who's not Sleez. Sleez is in Las Vegas right now, living it up for his mom's 60th. So happy 60th birthday to Mrs. Sleez. I am joined by one of the sharpest, one of the best fantasy football minds, and I know the future of fantasy football is in excellent hands, if not the best hands. This is one of the sharpest people I've ever had the privilege of meeting in person, one of the greatest people I've ever had the privilege of meeting. And I had one of the best fantasy football discussions and life discussions simultaneously with this gentleman at the Fantasy Football Expo. This guy is Hutchinson Brown. Hutch, please introduce yourself to the audience and the folks. Let them know where to find you, how they could support you and your work. And if you guys are watching us on X, head over to the Big Draft Energy YouTube channel because we'll be answering any and all of your fantasy football questions. That's the priority, but we're going to go through the entire Sunday and 2 Monday game slates. But Hutch, the floor is yours, buddy. Please introduce yourself to the folks here who are tuning in.
Oh, Disco, you're too much, man. I appreciate you. It was an honor getting to meet you at the expo, and I appreciate you letting me jump on the show. If you want to find me on Twitter, you can follow me at HutchinsonB_FF. I do a bunch of work over at Football Guys. You can check out the Football Guys site. I believe we're one of the better fantasy football sites out there. I think they do phenomenal work, and our tools are phenomenal. Our analysts are fantastic. I have an honor. It is an honor to be able to work with them. And man, just check out Hutch Coming in Clutch, my podcast twice a week for fantasy football. Hey, there's the Football Guys hat. I love it. Check out Hutch Coming in Clutch twice a week for fantasy football content, all your fantasy football needs every single week. Can't wait to jump into this slate with you, Disco. We got some really, really fun games here.
Absolutely. So we're going to cover all your start sit questions, like I alluded to earlier, but we're also going to talk about some betting props, some guys we feel are going to be absolutely smash pay-up options in DFS, and some sneaky tertiary sleeper options that you guys are going to need to sprinkle into your DFS lineups. So without further ado, let's catch up with the chat. And once again, guys, we are streaming on Sleez's X. We're streaming on my X, Hutch's X, and YouTube. So we appreciate everybody for tuning in, but head over to the Big Draft Energy YouTube channel, smash a like and subscribe. We are 20 subscribers away from our goal of 2,000 subscribers. So you guys might see a grown man cry today. A lot of blood, sweat, and tears. Hopefully not a lot of blood, but a lot of blood, sweat, and tears have gone into this. So let's catch up with the chat. Bones, good to see you. Evan Lyons over on Twitter. Head over to the Big Draft Energy YouTube channel. Appreciate you tuning in, buddy. Thank you so much. Peanut butter jelly time. Yo, what's up, buddy? Dustin Stone, what's up, guys? Bones says going to drop some questions for when you get them. Are we trusting Brian Thomas Jr. this week? Hutch, the floor is yours.
Yeah, this one's really tough, man. He's been a really hard player to start so far this year in fantasy football. I'm going to be honest. I think long-term it's going to be okay. I think when you look at the season long-term, it's going to be okay. Brian Thomas Jr., I know you love him, Disco. He's way too talented of a player to continue this level of production. We know the physical ability. We know the mental ability. We know the football IQ. We know what kind of receiver he is. They're going to figure out eventually. I think just it's a slow start with Liam Cohen as a new offensive-minded coach, figuring out with Trevor Lawrence, figuring out with this offense. But it might take a few weeks, but we'll get there with Brian Thomas. Just this week, though, I'm treating him as like a lower wide receiver too, and that's a player that's definitely being able to be put on your bench. So if you got some other options wide receiver that you feel pretty good about, I would start them over Brian Thomas Jr. Like, for example, I would start Ricky Pearsall over Brian Thomas Jr. this week. He's had 200-yard games already this year. He's a phenomenal option right now, both in the deep and the intermediate short ranges of the field for the 49ers offense. He's being used as their clear-cut wide receiver one. I mean, he was a first-round pick for a reason, right? He had that weird rookie year where he got shot and robbed, and he had a really off rookie season. But he's coming in this year and looking like a first-round pick, and I would start him in that same game over Thomas Jr. So that's about the level on that right now.
Understood. So, like, when you look at Brian Thomas Jr. and Bones, that's an excellent question because you guys know that Brian Thomas Jr. is my wide receiver one coming into the season. So far, not so good. But hey, man, sometimes we miss, and hopefully it's still too early in the season and he turns it around. But aside from his catch rate, which is like astronomically low. I believe it's 26 or 29%.
Yeah, 25 targets, 7 receptions so far this year, I think. I think that's the
Yeah.
number.
So aside from that, you look at every other statistical category and you're like, holy smokes, there's a lot of meat on the bone here. There's a lot of opportunity and everything is very enticing. So I'm not worried about the opportunity. I'm not worried about the system. I am slightly worried about the rapport between him and Trevor Lawrence. I think the thing that concerns me the most with Brian Thomas Jr. is the wrist injury because he is coming up like a little bit short. He's like alligator arming it. He looks like he's scared to get hit or take a hit. How bad is that wrist injury? Nevertheless, I'm not sitting Brian Thomas Jr. Not now, not ever. If you guys pay that draft capital for players with a high ceiling and you bench them because you've seen their floor, then you don't deserve the ceiling outputs in your fantasy football lineup. So that's where I'm going to go there. Bones with another question. Swift, Montgomery, Henderson, or Judkins for my RB2. Ooh. Hutch, floor is yours again, my friend.
This is quite tough. I think I'm gonna try to play a process by elimination game here. I'm gonna take out David Montgomery right away. This Browns defense is absolutely insane. I mean, Josh Jacobs, Derrick Henry, Chase Brown all got limited to less than 60 rushing yards, I believe, in their 3 games. I mean, Derrick Henry was 11 for 23, and they were trash talking Henry before the game. And I was like, before that game coming up, they were saying it's easy to tackle Derrick Henry, and I was like, Henry's about to go for like 250 on this team,
He did
and he
not.
went for 23 yards.
Yeah.
This Browns defense is insane, and Montgomery's the type where out of the two between Gibbs and Monty's just the easier to shut down. Gibbs is way too explosive and agile in the backfield. Monty is more of a bruiser, and yes, we can see him explosive sometimes. You can see him get some nice runs, but I think he gets shut down this one. I would want to rule him out. And then, oh my goodness, I think that I think I'm going to eliminate Henderson too. I really want to see more Henderson touches. I really do. I was very high on him coming in this year, but it's just not there yet. And you have a valuable option here in Judkins, who is the clear-cut running back 1 on the team. We saw him run the most routes last week among running backs in this backfield, even though it didn't come out in terms of targets. He was on the field for all 3 downs, plenty of the time. And you get a matchup here with Detroit where they're not the most threatening defense. They've had a solid defense this year, but they've had some weak points. And Judkins is just the clear-cut RB1. He looks phenomenal with the football in his hands. So I think your floor play here for volume is Judkins. But if you just need an absolute dart throw at ceiling for a big play, I think Henderson's the one you want to look at because any week now could be the breakout game. We saw Gibson fumble. We saw Ramondre Stevenson fumble twice last week. So Henderson could have the role this week, and he could have some huge plays. So he has upside, but I think Judkins gives you more floor. So it depends on what you want. Upside, you go with Henderson. If you want more of a floor, you go with Judkins.
Yeah. So, guys, chat, what I will ask you guys moving forward when you guys do ask your fantasy football questions, please let us know the scoring format
That is
because
helpful.
I think that is borderline subject to change our impression. Here's the thing. Everything should be going in Henderson's way in a plus matchup against an atrocious Carolina Panthers defense that still hemorrhages well over 5.5 yards per rush attempt, right? So Henderson has a fantastic matchup. Ramondre, in theory, fumbled away his starting role last week. But we also just heard, based off of the coach speak index, Mike Vrabel say that, we need Ramondre. We want to depend on Ramondre. Hopefully he can get this right and fix it, which has me discouraged for Trayvon Henderson. I'm willing to play Trayvon Henderson in DFS slates. But the answer here is Quinshon Judkins. I do think Swift has a high floor in PPR upside in a potential shootout game against Las Vegas, but Vegas doesn't hemorrhage a lot of production to receiving backs. And David Montgomery, for all the reasons that Hutch alluded to earlier, is a must sit out of this 4. So I think unanimous, we're both agreeing that it's Quinshon Judkins, right?
Yeah, I think so. The only reason I'd play Henderson is if you need a serious dart throw at upside. Like if you're severely down in your matchup and it's like, well, I need like 30 points out of my flex or I'm just not going to win this week, you go with Henderson. You say, I just need the upside.
All right, I'll take the answer on this one first. Stephen McMahon, welcome to the show. Thank you for swinging by. Or is it Stefan? He says, what's up, fellas? Who to start, Drake London or Tet? I'm going to go ahead and say Drake London, even though Drake London has that shoulder injury where he had a shoulder sprain. The ramp, like he has been ramping up his practice, his targets, and I think he's at the point now, just based off of anatomical adaptation, which is muscle memory. He has enough reps with that injury to be a formidable option. And when you look at the Washington Commanders, his opposition this week, they gave up significant chunk plays to both the tight ends and the wide receiver position. So I like Drake London as a smash play here, whereas Tyrone McMillan's dealing with, I believe, a calf or a hamstring. It's a lower body injury, and Christian Gonzalez is back. And I feel like Christian Gonzalez completely changes the entire situation for the New England Patriots secondary. So we're not going to see the secondary that has been absolutely atrocious, hemorrhaging and giving up so much production like they have in the past. I think we see Christian Gonzalez do a relatively good job against Tet. So with that being said, I'm going to say Drake London. And I see the chat popping. I see a bunch of you here on X commenting. Thank you guys so much for supporting the dream. But we are only answering people on the YouTube side. Head over to the Big Draft Energy YouTube channel. Like, subscribe. It's free to subscribe, free to like. Ask your question in here. And if you want to get your question answered immediately, a super chat or a membership, any of that will get prioritized to the very top. We'll literally stop what we're doing just to get to your question. All right. Stephen McMahon's question. What you got here, buddy? Drake London or Tet?
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with Drake London for very similar reasons that you said. We've seen the slow ramp up off that shoulder. We've seen it coming. A breakout game is likely to come. I know it's hard to make fantasy trades on a Saturday, but if there's any way you can still make a trade for Drake London, I think this is a great time to do it. I've been talking about it this week as Drake London. I think people are really disappointed. And when you have a player like that, you're really disappointed in, you see the slow ramp up, it's time to buy. I've been talking about the same thing with Matthew Golden. Maybe we'll talk about him at some point in this episode. But I think London's the play here. He's set up for a potential smash game against Washington. But I also think Tim McMillan's a great play too, because you have Jatavian Sanders out this week. You have Xavier Legette out this week. Those are two big targets in this offense. I know Legette hasn't done much with his targets, but those are two solid targets in this offense. It's going to force McMillan to be very, very involved, especially considering Jalen Coker's still out. Like, it's going to force a lot of targets to him. So I would consider him as a really good fantasy play this week. But in this play, in this conversation, you got to go London.
Yeah. Hello, Fly Eagles 39.
Hello.
Yo, what's up, fellas? What's up, Frizz L? I want to move CD into my IR spot. Do I drop Brandon Ayuk or Tajay Spears? I'll answer for the both of us here. You drop Brandon Ayuk because there's no timetable on his return, whereas Tajay Spears should be good to go next week. So drop Ayuk, and good luck with that. Frizz.
100%.
End game. I see your question, brother. Please head over to the Big Draft Energy YouTube channel, subscribe, and we'll 100% prioritize answering your question. Thank you so much for tuning in. Dustin Stone says, best flex for half PPR, Henderson, Golden, Godwin, or Tucker. Hutch, you mentioned the name earlier. I hope you say the right name here because I think I'm with you.
Yeah, I think you got to go Matthew Golden here, man. Godwin in the first week is really hard to start. DraftKings lines had him at 2.5 receptions, 30.5 yards. They don't expect a ton of involvement his first week back off that broken ankle. I don't either. And looking at Trey Tucker, I know he had like the quietest 8 for 145 and 3 game of all time last week. I do not want to put him in my lineup after that. I feel like we're not going to see similar production in any way, shape, or form. Now, looking at Golden, though, we are set up for a huge breakout week with Matthew Golden here. When you look at the ramp up over the first 3 weeks, you saw 48, 50%, and then 71% of the snaps in week 3. Hasn't had much opportunity in the first 2 weeks, but in week 3, we saw 4 receptions on 4 targets. He eclipsed 50 yards. Now, you look at the matchup this week with the Dallas Cowboys. That secondary is unbelievably bad. I love watching as an Eagles fan. Like, I adore how bad this secondary is, but like literally going back, watching the All-22 film, looking at them play football, looking at their coverages, how they're playing defense together as a unit and individually, it's so bad. It's an absolute mess. I feel bad for any defensive coordinator on this team right now trying to make this work. This secondary is playing really poorly. Matthew Golden should be able to tear up the secondary.
Yeah, to add to your point there on the love for Matthew Golden, when we talk about fantasy football production, it's nice to quantify it with standard production, especially when you're looking at the wide receivers, because there's touchdown upside. And no team allows more points to opposing wide receivers in standard format than the Dallas Cowboys. They allow 34 fantasy points on average. They're tied for the most receptions allowed, receiving touchdowns allowed to opposing wide receivers at 2 per game. Second most yards per reception allowed at 16.95 yards per reception. So when you're looking at Matthew Golden's game, he is an explosive player getting explosive usage. He is the definition of an explosive player. Most receiving yards allowed to opposing wide receivers, 25 more yards than any other defense. They allow 220.33, and 10th in reception. So when we're talking about if there's not a lot of reception upside, Apollo's freaking out. there's a lot of receiving touchdown upside and explosive upside, which is within this game. Sorry about that. All right, next question. Peanut Butter Jelly Time says, I have a hard time trusting any Jag right now because of two words. Shane Waldron is killing my guys.
Shane Waldron sucks. He ruins every young wide receiver.
Was offered Kittle, Brian Thomas Jr., Mason for Chase and Montgomery. My RBs are terrible. Take or no take? What do you think here, Hutch?
Ooh, Kittle, Brian Thomas Jr., and Jordan Mason for Jamar Chase and David Montgomery. That's brutal. That's a really brutal question. I think I'm going to lean. If you had Burrow with Chase, I think I'd slightly lean in the Chase direction. But since we don't have Burrow, we know he's probably pretty much going to be gone for the season. I think I'm going to go with the Kittle, Thomas Jr., and Mason side. Kittle should be back pretty soon, and this receiving core is wide open outside of Ricky Pearsall with all the injuries. So Kittle should be back, and he should have a target share pretty quickly. And Brian Thomas Jr., like I said before, I think long term this is going to work. It's just going to take some time to figure out what this new offense, new coaching staff. And Jordan Mason is really good, man. He's a very solid grinder, very good runner of the football. You don't get a ton of receiving upside, but this Vikings offense is going to score, and you get a ton of red zone usage. Aaron Jones, 4 weeks with that hamstring injury, he's going to be out. And I think there's potential for more here. And I think potentially when he comes back, it could be very limiting to his play. He's a 30-plus-year-old running back with a soft tissue issue. And this is something he's not new to. Like, this is really concerning for his season-long outlook. I think Mason, Brian Thomas Jr., and Kittle, that package is what you want here.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you 100%. Kyle Quick, I see your question over on X. Thank you so much for watching. But please head over to the Big Draft Energy YouTube channel, smash a like, subscribe here, and ask your question in here. We will gladly answer 100%. And just ask it the same way, buddy. Thank you so much for tuning in. Jesse B says, or Chase and Pollard for Kamara in London.
Oh, that's interesting.
Here's mine. I don't love Kamara's outlook because the thing that endeared us the most to Alvin Kamara historically was his receptions upside. And with Kellen Moore, we've seen that completely disappear.
It's not there.
So like Drake London, sure, that's fine, but I don't think it's an upgrade, so to speak. I do want to offload Pollard right now, especially with Tajay Spears coming back and him being the more efficient running back, dipping into the only thing that makes Pollard fantasy relevant is the volume that he's getting, but that volume is going to be gone after this week. I would say I like the first trade better where you're getting Kittle, BTJ,
Absolutely.
and Mason. I think that's a little bit better for you, buddy. Thanks for tuning in, man. Stephen McMahon says, thoughts on Chase Brown this week, looking at playing a Emeka Egbuka at flex ahead of him.
That's not even a decision. Yeah, you play Emeka Egbuka. He might catch 8 balls this week. Like, there with Godwin coming back off that injury, with Mike Evans out against a Philadelphia secondary that's had some question marks this year, like, there's no decision there. You are benching Chase Brown.
Yeah, absolutely. PPR in all my leagues. Apologies. No, you're brilliant. Flex. Quentin Johnston or Matthew Golden. Ooh, so if you need the floor, and it's so weird saying this, I think Quentin Johnston.
Yeah, that's crazy to say, but it's true.
It's Matthew Golden. Where are you at with this?
Yeah, I completely agree. I love your point of the floor with Quentin Johnston. Like, I think the narrative around Quentin Johnston really needs to start to change, because I don't know what people were expecting coming in. He came in as a very raw prospect. Like, he was underdeveloped in his route tree. He wasn't very, a good technician. He didn't have the ability to see footballs downfield. He had so much to work on coming in, and he had a bad rookie season. That's what we should have expected. But this kid is seriously developed, and he looks phenomenal right now. I think he looks really good, and he's showing why he was drafted in the first round by this team. And I agree, as weird as it is to say, the floor play is Quentin Johnston, but the ceiling play is Matthew Golden. So I think if you're down in your matchup and you need a big opportunity, I think I would go Matthew Golden. But if you just want, if you want at least, 8 to 10 points with upside, I'd play Quentin Johnston. But I think you have more of a ceiling with Matthew Golden.
I mean, we alluded to how fantastic Matthew Golden's matchup is. I think Quentin Johnston has an equally as good matchup when we're talking about what the Giants allow. They allow the second most receiving yards to opposing wide receivers at 195. Second most receptions at 15.33. So there's a volume upside there, and 1 receiving touchdown allowed per game to opposing wide receivers.
Yeah, in terms of,
go ahead. No, you first.
I was about to say, I'm looking at fantasy points allowed right now. It's Dallas Cowboys dead last, and right next to them are the New York Giants. So
yeah,
we got two great matchups here.
It's neck and neck. And just looking at this matchup, I mean, I think there's more mouths to feed that I'm concerned about with the Los Angeles Chargers, but I feel like this is a game where everybody can and should eat. I think Quentin Johnston he's a fantastic start moving forward. Thanks for your time and thoughts, boys. Appreciate you, Bones. Zach, please head over to the Big Draft Energy YouTube channel. We see your question and we'll gladly answer it over to on the Big Draft Energy YouTube channel. Thank you for tuning in. Peanut Butter Jelly Time says, going Michael Penix. Are we inserting the Penix or going Caleb this week? I'll take the lead here. I'm leading with Caleb Williams against a Las Vegas Raiders defense that gives up a lot of production to quarterbacks. Let me just pull up my notes here. I love how organized I am. I got notes, man. So Vegas allows the 10th most passing yards per game to opposing quarterbacks, 245.33, well within Williams' wheelhouse. 9th most rushing yards, 27.33, which is well within Caleb Williams' wheelhouse, and 8th most rush attempts at 6.33 to opposing quarterbacks, well within Caleb Williams' wheelhouse. I wouldn't be shocked if we find Caleb Williams finding the end zone on the ground and also throwing 2 touchdowns. I like Caleb Williams for 20 plus fantasy points as his floor. Where are you at with this?
Yeah, we just saw Marcus Mariota put up 41 points on this team and rush for 40 yards on 6 rush attempts. And Caleb Williams, the thing is, he is an unsung hero in the running game so far, man. Not many people are talking about that he's like the top 5 quarterback right now in rushing yardage on the season. So far, he's been really good in the running game, and he looks electric doing it. Against the Raiders, obviously a really good matchup on defense. I think this will be a great game for Caleb, and especially after we saw with Michael Penix last week, the sheer fear that it struck in me for his potential value moving forward. I mean, he looked awful in that game against Carolina. Hopefully it's just a one and done, washed off game, like throw it over your shoulder, get back into it. But don't want to start Penix after last week. Start Caleb.
I got to ask you, are you rhyming intentionally? Because earlier you said soft tissue issue, and now you said sheer fear. Is that intentional? Like,
no, it's not intentional. It's not intentional. I'm just spitting, I guess. I don't know.
You're spitting fantasy football advice and poetry simultaneously.
I guess, yeah.
Scott 1275, thank you for tuning in, brother. He says, full PPR flex time, Judkins or Henderson. I think we both agree it's Judkins. I think he has the safer floor. I think Henderson has the highest ceiling, but Josh McDaniels is going to do Josh McDaniels things. Thank you for tuning in, Scott. Golden needs that Luther Burden game this week. He needs better than that, especially for all my best ball exposure. Appreciate you, Fly Eagles 39. Ginger Daddy, sick name. He says, would you trade Ibuka and Hunter Henry for Bowers and DJ Moore? Ooh. Is it a tight end premium? What's the scoring format? Come back with the answer there, Ginger Daddy, and we'll answer. Okay, buddy?
Yeah, that changes it.
Yeah. Daggers, sick name, says tight end premium, half PPR, Mason Taylor or Oronde Gatson. Loveland was my tight end 1. Can I go first on this one?
Sure, go for it. What do you got?
Okay. Hold on. I got to pull up my tight end notes. Where the hell is it? I got it. Okay, you go first. I'll pull it up.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Gadsden here. We saw some serious flash last week. 7 targets, 5 receptions. We saw some pretty solid production from him last week, and it was really nice to see him involved. We saw some really good offseason hype for him. There's a lot of talk around this name, Oronde Gadsden. People were very, very bullish on him, and we're finally starting to see him get involved. I mean, this was 1 week. Could it be a bust next week? Absolutely. But it's nice to see the flash and the fact that we saw it, and especially we got a matchup with the Giants that are just weak everywhere overall, and we should have a feast for this Chargers offense. I think Gadsden has a lot of touchdown upside, given that the Chargers should be in the red zone a lot, and hopefully we get at least 4-ish catches.
So I will go out and say this: Gadsden, I don't like chasing production from last week. Gadsden,
it's tough, but basically, you're taking 2 dart throws no matter what here.
I don't think it's a dart throw with Mason Taylor because it's a plus matchup, and the difference between Mason Taylor and Gadsden is Gadsden's not even top 2 in his team when it comes to snap percentage. Shout out to Football Guys for the snap count percentage tracker there. I love that tool, and I love Football Guys, hence why I'm wearing the Football Guys hat. Shout out to them, and shout out to you. So I will say this: Miami is a way more advantageous matchup, and Mason Taylor's out on the field way more. So Miami allows the 5th most. They are the 5th most targeted team to opposing tight ends with 7.67 targets per game going to tight ends, tied for allowing 5th most receptions to tight ends at 6, 4th most receiving yards to tight ends at 71.33, and 8th most yards per reception at 11.89. And then there's a big cluster of teams that allow 0.67 touchdowns to opposing tight ends. That is above average when you're looking at where it's advantageous. So not only is the volume going to be there, not only is the yardage and the explosive opportunity going to be there in terms of this matchup, and this is his player profile, and I like him as my sleeper tight end to break out this week. That is my flag plant this week is Mason Taylor. I absolutely love him. Plus matchup, the usage is going to be there, and I think he's going to get a lot of work. And there's touchdown upside there as well.
I could totally
So
see it. I like it. I
half
like it.
PPR, the Mason Taylor touchdown upside is definitely there. Frizz Ill says, I love this because like we literally have all these cool slides that we've prepared. I'm just going to pull it up. We've prepared these slides like this so we can like go through every game, but we are always going to prioritize answering your fantasy football questions before anything else, guys. Is that good with you, Hutch?
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. So you guys always come first. If you guys are one of the 400 plus people watching us on 3 different Twitter channels, head over to the Big Draft Energy YouTube channel, ask your question, and we're going to give you the answer that's going to be the difference maker in helping you get over the top this week. Let's go. Support the dream. It's free to subscribe. Full PPR, my wide receivers is CD, Golden, Drake, Tet, Luther. Week 5, I lose all my wide receivers except Tet. Should I pick up Parker Washington and Jalen Tolbert? There's also Jalen Coker, but that's about it. I would say Parker Washington's tough to project, especially if De'Ami Brown comes back sooner rather than later. Jalen Tolbert has the most opportunity. I'm not sure who they play in week 5. And Jalen Coker, I think, is the surefire right answer. So I wouldn't mind either Tolbert or Coker. Where are you at with this?
Yeah, I think if you're looking for a pickup, just got a stash, it's got to be Coker. He had such a heavy drumbeat in the offseason. He was looking like the clear-cut number 2 wide receiver for this Carolina offense. And when you look at where this Carolina offense is right now, they need that number 2 wide receiver. Tevin Millen, he's doing great for a rookie. He's doing phenomenal to start the season for a rookie wide receiver. But then you look at Xavier Legette, who turned 8 targets in week 1, or I think it was week 1, into like -2 yards. You have Jatavian Sanders, who's just filling at the tight end role. But you need a clear-cut wide receiver 2 here, a guy that can stretch the field. And Jalen Coker is that kind of monster. And I think he'll have a great role waiting for him when he comes back and he's fully healthy. So he's the guy I'd pick up here.
You trust him coming off of an injury, the first week he's back from the injury?
Would I start him in fantasy?
Yes.
I do.
In his situation, he has no choice.
Yeah, man.
You're playing for the upside and only the upside there with your.
Yeah, I think you're playing only for upside with Coker if you're starting him in that role. But I think with Washington and Jalen Tolbert, you don't have much of a floor either.
Absolutely. So. Javonte Williams or Travion Henderson, full PPR. So I'll take the lead on this one.
Yeah, go for it.
I think Javonte Williams is your safer floor play, but it's scary saying he's a safer floor play because both BB, his center, and Tyler Booker are out this game against a rushing defense that doesn't allow any sort of production. But since it's PPR format, the one glaring opportunity for Javonte Williams, and just based off of game script, I think it leans this way. When you look at what the Green Bay Packers allow to opposing running backs, they allow the 3rd most receptions per game to opposing running backs. That's 7 receptions per game, 22.33 receiving yards for an average of 3.19 yards per reception, so 3rd least. So I like him for 7 points, 7 points just based off of receptions, and hopefully he can break a tackle and lean that way. Whereas Travion Henderson has the better matchup between the two, and he has one of the best matchups in football. I just don't know if the opportunity, the volume is going to go that way. Where are you at with this one?
I'm be honest, it's really hard. I think I'm just going to roll in the fire with Javonte Williams. He has been so good. I mean, the yards to contact numbers, the way he looks on the field, he is back to his rookie season self. Like, he looks exactly like what we wanted to see from him in his rookie season. And it's just so impressive. It is incredibly impressive to see after the injuries he's gone through, after all the crap in Denver with Russell Wilson and all that. He came out, went to Dallas, and all of a sudden is just breaking out in front of our eyes. It doesn't matter what defense he's played against. It doesn't matter what matchup he's faced. It doesn't matter if Dallas put up 14 points against Chicago. Like, it doesn't matter. He's still a really good fantasy asset, both in the receiving game and in the running game. I'm just going to trust him here. I'm going to trust him against a really tough matchup with the Green Bay Packers and just hope he plays well.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate that the roles aren't reversed, right? Because Javonte plays at night at Sunday Night Football and Henderson plays at the 1 p.m. slate.
Yeah.
If you need the ceiling, say you went against like Marvin Harrison Jr. and Trey McBride, if you need the ceiling and you're already trailing in your week, I would say Henderson is the right call, but Javonte is a safer floor play.
I think that's fair, yeah.
Better play. QB, Indiana Jones or Jordan Love, 4-point passing touchdown. Where are you at with this one?
I love the Indiana Jones nickname, how that's been going on. I love it. I think you got to play Jordan Love here personally. The Dallas matchup is way too juicy to ignore. Obviously, we're projecting a Matthew Golden potential breakout week. Tucker Kraft is phenomenal. And this Dallas defense right now is getting absolutely shredded by quarterbacks. They allow the most passing yards in football, the most receiving yards to receivers in football. Like, they are just they're just terrible. We know it. And this is a situation where Jordan Love is set up for huge success. I think you've got to go with him in this direction here.
I agree 100%. You said that perfectly. George Play 01. Sup, guys? Need QB for this week. Penix, Mariota, or Tua, or Wentz. So Wentz, not interested in him. I think Penix has a fantastic matchup. Mariota does not have a fantastic matchup, and Tua has been above average. So I think just based off of ruling out Mariota and Wentz, it comes down to between Penix and Tua. And when I look at the implied point total, I'm going to give the lean to Tua, but it's very negligible. Like, I think you're fine with either one of those quarterbacks. Expect anywhere between 14 to 18 fantasy points from those guys. Where are you at with this?
Yeah, I mean, Miami just simply can't run the ball. They're throwing the ball at a super high rate right now overall as a team because Devon Achane, he's not like a super power back. And then Ollie Gordon, he started to get it going last week, but he's still not a primary back in this offense yet. They're throwing the ball at a really heavy rate, and also they have to. Their defense sucks. And Justin Fields is starting for the Jets. We got that news today. And I'm going to be honest, I think we see what we saw in week 1 from Justin Fields. Week 2 just got really weird with that concussion. I think he was concussed before he left the game. I think he was really shaken up that entire game. He did not look like himself. Week 1 looked phenomenal. He looked genuinely like a different player. And I think that's more what we see against Miami in week 2. I mean, in week 4 coming up this week. And as a result, Miami's going to have to throw. And I think this is going to be a higher scoring game. And as a result, you want Tua Tagovailoa to get those touchdowns, to get those passing yardage, to get those explosive plays from Hill and Waddle, who seem to really turn it on lately, as well as Devon Achane in the receiving game.
Absolutely. And just to add to it, the Jets allowed the 7th most points to opposing fantasy quarterbacks at 21.
It's 2 offenses with a lot of talent and 2 defenses that seem to not play well. That's a match made in heaven for fantasy goodness.
Yeah, and you're talking about almost 2 touchdowns, passing touchdowns allowed per game. So there's a lot of upside there for Tua Tagovailoa. So I'm going to give the lean to Tua as well. Also need 2 wide receivers and a flex non-PPR. Okay. Pickens, Ladd, Golden, Worthy, Henderson, Tootin. I'm going to say 2 wide receivers and a flex. The first 3 names that you have there.
Yeah.
Pickens, Ladd, Golden. Pickens doesn't have a plus matchup, but he's going to get all the volume in the world. Hopefully it translates. So he's the upside play there. Ladd McConkey is still a fantastic football player, and the Giants hemorrhage some of the most fantasy production to opposing wide receivers, the second most advantageous matchup for wide receivers this week. And then Golden has the most advantageous matchup. So it's those first 3. I'm worried about Xavier Worthy, first week back from injury, and nobody is higher on Xavier Worthy than me, but first week back from an injury, it's tough. He's like 1 hit away, and I think he's going to be limited. Henderson, incredible high ceiling game, fantastic matchup. I don't trust Josh McDaniels, and this is coming from a Patriots fan. And Tootin doesn't have the greatest matchup. He doesn't have an awful matchup, but he's in a split. And I think Travis Etienne has been like the shining light for the Jacksonville Jaguars thus far. So if I'm kind of worried about Travis Etienne, I'm definitely worried about Tootin. Anything different for you there?
Yeah, the one thing I would say, I think Pickens specifically, I love him in this kind of format and non-PPR because you have big play and touchdown upside with Pickens that you don't have with many other wide receivers. He is constantly stretching the field and constantly looking to make big plays downfield. Golden, we know he can stretch the field and potentially score some touchdowns this week. We love the Dallas matchup. We've been talking about that. The one thing I would contest here, though, is Ladd McConkey. While he is very, very good wide receiver, he's going to get a boatload of targets this week, most likely. He's been in a split with Quentin Johnson and Keenan Allen, and the problem with the split is that he's not getting the red zone usage. Keenan Allen and Quentin Johnson have been the guys in the red zone. They've been the guys that have been scoring touchdowns. Ladd is likely due for a touchdown at some point. He's going to score at some point. It's just in a non-PPR format, it makes him less valuable if he's not getting nearly as many red zone targets as Allen or Johnson are. So I might lead Henderson for the upside of the big plays potential here. So I would go Pickens and Golden with wide receiver, and I think I'd flex Henderson instead of McConkey.
I love that. I'm just going to take a moment to say that we are officially 14 subscribers away from our major next milestone goal. And you guys will see a 6'8", 320-pound man cry tears of joy if we hit 2,000 subscribers. I don't know if I'll cry, but I'll be very happy and I'm very grateful, guys. So if you guys are watching us on X, you're one of the 500 people watching on X, head over to the Big Draft Energy YouTube channel, like, subscribe. It's free. It costs you nothing, and it gives us, it helps us out, and it means the world to me. So please do me a solid. I'd really appreciate it. It takes 5 seconds out of your time. Dustin Stone says, what you guys think we'll see from Dart this week? Do you think he could be fantasy football relevant? This is a weird one. Where are you at with Jackson Dart?
Yeah, I think, man, it's really hard because obviously he's a complete dart throw. No pun intended. He's a
Oh,
complete dart throw this week because we haven't seen him yet. We haven't seen him play. The Chargers defense has been pretty good on the season. However, something we see sometimes with rookies or with first-time starters, we just saw it with Marcus Mariota last week. When you have no film on a quarterback and you have weapons around them, they can seriously take advantage of a defense because this defense has no clue what's coming to them. They have no clue what he's going to do. As a result, he can play however he wants. He doesn't have to play to the defense. He doesn't have to play in any certain way. He can do whatever he wants. And defenses sometimes have a really hard time predicting these rookie quarterbacks in their first game. And sometimes we see some really good starts for these players. And sometimes even veterans come in for a one-hit wonder game, like we just saw with Wentz, like we just saw with Mariota this past week. So I honestly think the -6 line, I think that's a little too far of a separation. I think the Giants stay in this one. I think they really do. I think Dart's going to be able to do enough. And something also I like about Dart too is that he's not afraid to run the football. And I love. There's a video where did you see the interview with him and John Gruden?
yes.
The former NFL head coach. He was talking to him, and he was like, "What would coach tell you to do in this moment?" And Jackson Dart was watching film, and Jackson Dart was running up the sideline, and Jackson Dart said, "Coach, tell me to go out of bounds." And John Gruden said, "What did you do?" And he said, "I ran the guy over." And the video comes up, he's just dropping his shoulder straight
Yeah.
into a backer, and it's just like, he's going to get him some hurt, but he's not afraid to run the football, and he's very aggressive doing it, and that provides fantasy ball value. So overall, looking at it, that was a lot of yapping, but overall, looking at Dart as a player for this week, I approach him as a really sneaky QB2 play with rushing upside in a game where you're definitely going to have to throw to stay with the Chargers.
I love that analysis and that breakdown. I also love the fact that him and Cam Scadabor are essentially the same person, just play different
Dude,
positions.
exactly. Yeah, they
They
really
they
are.
hit different heights. They're both boneheads, but they're both football guys, and I love that. So you're
Mhm.
going to get either one or two scenarios, right? And there's no gray area because if it's a gray area, I'm going to be very disappointed. You're either going to get this like messiah, savior, quarterback savant, like we saw from the SPS Brainy Ballers star predictor score. Shout out to our boy Brainy Ballers. I'm the first person to find Brainy Ballers, even though McAfee is featuring him in Barstool Sports. He's still my guy. He's still my. The star predictor score says Jackson Dart's the best prospect ever. So we could see that Jackson Dart, or we could see consensus QB 27 Jackson Dart. No in between.
Mhm.
Hopefully, we see the first one because I would love to see the Chargers lose. I don't hate the Chargers. I just would love to see them get upset because I got eliminated from like 5 survivor pools last week from the Green Bay Packers. Shout out to Cleveland. Evening, y'all. Hutch, if Hutch doesn't rap for us, we ride. Shout out to you, James. Love you, buddy. Curb Nuts. Shout out to the guys from the Patreon. Curb Nuts is one of the guys from the Patreon, the guys FF. If you guys don't get access to us, or if you guys cannot get access to us live on YouTube, the best way to get access to myself or Sleez Bomb, shout out to Sleez Bomb, my business partner, is by signing up on the guys FF Patreon. $5 to make sure you win all of that fantasy football money in your pot. Curbnut says, yo, could you rank them, Fields, Love, or Caleb? I'm going to say Fields. I think you have it in the right order. Where are you at with this?
I think I'd prefer Caleb over Love for rushing upside personally. When it comes to quarterbacks, the rushing value is just so good, especially if you're in a 4-point passing touchdown league. But I agree that if Fields is back on the field against a really advantageous Miami matchup, he's the one here. And then Caleb would be my 2 with Love at 3rd.
Okay. Okay. So it's Fields unanimously, though. Glad I'm not the only one who caught the rhymes. Nothing gets by me. Zach Hetchman, thank you for tuning in, brother. He's and sorry if I butchered your last name. My apologies. Half PPR, Judkins, Golden, or Warren at flex. Warren with the knee injury is very concerning. Half PPR means you need the touchdown upside. So it's like 51-49 between Judkins leading and Golden. I think Golden has a very plus matchup. I'm not opposed to any of them. Judkins is your safer floor play because I think he has that touchdown upside with more volume. Golden is all ceiling. So if you're playing from behind, I think Golden's the right answer. Where are you at with this?
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Judkins is a lock for like 16 plus carries and a couple targets, while Golden, you could go out and get 2 for 32 from him this week. Like that's
Yeah.
just that simple. But Golden, you could also get like 6 for 102. Like that's the kind of upside you
Yeah.
have with Golden. And Judkins in a game against Detroit where, I mean, look, I know Cleveland pulled off the upset last week. I expect Detroit to win this game. They're 10-point favorites, and I expect it to be around that for them. I don't see Judkins as a player that's going to like run the clock out and get like 100 plus rushing yards. I just don't see that from him this week. So I think you're looking more of floor play with Judkins, seal and play with Golden.
I love that. All right, Steven, no need to apologize. I'm the Canadian here. I'm the one who should be apologizing. He says, apologies. I should have made it easy and asked a question like this. Put these wide receivers in order of starting: 1, AJ Brown; 2, Emeka Egbuka; 3, Drake London; 4, Tet. So I'm going to say 1, Emeka Egbuka; 2, AJ Brown; 3, Drake London; 4, Tet.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I'm with you
Okay.
there.
Excellent. Thanks, Disco. You're very welcome, Scott. Don't forget to thank Hutch, and make sure you go subscribe to Hutch in the Clutch on YouTube. Make sure you guys follow Hutchinson Brown or Hutchinson FF on X. What's the X?
It's at Hutchinson B_FF. You gotta combine the two. You're good.
God bless. PPR 1 tight end. Okay, so let's go back to his question. I have
I
it
think it was
right
Brock
here.
Bowers and DJ Moore, and he was.
It was. Would you trade Emeka Egbuka and Hunter Henry for
Yeah,
Bowers and DJ Moore? Yes, I would. I would make that trade in a heartbeat, buddy.
I would make that trade as well. DJ Moore is gonna get going better at some point. They're gonna get him more involved here,
Or he gets traded.
or he gets
Galaxy,
traded. Yeah.
yeah, Galaxy Pickers says, would you start Addison, Worthy, Mooney, or JCM for my flex spot? Full PPR, very concerned with players coming back from injury. So Addison's coming back from a suspension, and I believe the first catch he ever received from Carson Wentz thus far this year was their first practice together on Wednesday. So I don't love Jordan Addison for that matter, but he will be on the field the vast majority of the time, I'm anticipating. Mooney has a plus matchup. Worthy's coming off of an injury. He's all ceiling, no floor. But these are a lot of all ceiling guys. And JCM doesn't have a fantastic matchup on the ground. The Falcons are very good. My lean here is probably Worthy as your ceiling. And then I would say Addison is probably like your floor play just based off of being on the field a lot of the time. And I don't think that it's just going to be the Jordan Mason show. So we're going to see Jordan Addison potentially get a couple chunk targets. Just hopefully he converts them in the timing with Carson Wentz is there. Where are you at with this?
Yeah, I think for me, I'm gonna go Worthy here. And something else you gotta consider with Addison is that remember that game's in Dublin. This is an international game,
Yeah.
and we know with these international games, it gets wacky when you have the whole team traveling to a place they've probably never been before. Different stadium, different vibe, different people, different community. It's like these games tend to be a little wacky, and we'll talk about it eventually when we get to the game preview. I don't want to bet on this game. Like I
No.
don't want to put my hard-earned money on this game because they always get so weird and unpredictable. And Addison just coming back first time in this offense with a quarterback he wasn't expecting. Like you said, it was first catch caught from
Yes.
in practice on Wednesday with Wentz. Like that's probably not a situation I want to touch this week for fantasy purposes. I have Addison on a bunch of benches, not this week for me. Worthy would probably be my play as well. Just go through the risk with the injury, especially in full PPR. If we were non PPR, I'd consider JCM just for that rushing volume that he gets and that safe volume that he gets. But in full PPR, you gotta go with the receiver.
All right, let's take a moment, chat. Let's thank Hutch because Hutch is absolutely freaking killing it right now. Chat, do me a favor if you guys are watching this. I don't care if it's on X, I don't care if it's on YouTube. Put hashtag WHutch in the chat right now because he is
Appreciate you,
absolutely
brother.
killing this. This is his first time here with us, and he's smashing this right now. And thank you so much for blessing not just the audience, the people who are watching, but blessing me with your knowledge and just your analysis and your breakdown. Really do appreciate you.
Appreciate you, brother. Thank you. It
We
means
we
a lot.
got N hit with the injury bug. Tell me about it, brother. Flex Golden or Chase Brown, full PPR. I have Godwin on the bench, but not sure if he'll play. If Godwin does play, he'll be very limited. Chase Brown is due, especially in a pretty decent matchup for running backs. Like it's not the greatest matchup, but it's also not awful. Like conceptually, there's a lot of opportunity because Denver allows the ninth most fantasy points when it comes to standard format. Once again, standard format is a great baseline to look at skill position production. They allow 17.33 points there. They allow the most yards per reception to opposing running backs. And if we don't get to the game, I'm just going to straight up say this right now. Chase Brown over 10.5 longest reception is an absolute lock this week. They allow the 7th most receiving yards at 46, 6th most rush yards at 108.33, and allow the 7th most rush attempts. With that offensive line, I believe the volume will be there. Hopefully, we see him explode and potentially take one of these receptions to the house. But with that being said, Golden is the higher ceiling play. So if you're playing from behind, and this is a late decision, if you need the ceiling, because one's on Monday, one's on Sunday night, if you need the ceiling, it's Golden. If you need the floor, it's Chase Brown.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think. Oh, sorry, Emma. One
No,
thing I
you're
want
good.
to say. One thing I want to say about Chase Brown is I'm gonna be honest, man. I'm really worried about what we've seen so far. Like, I wasn't a big fan coming into the season of Chase Brown. I was a little lower on him. He gave me a bit of Zamir White vibes. That second half flash, that kind of like looking all right on the field. I know you're laughing about Zamir White,
We
but
don't say that name on this channel.
yeah, no, he who must not be named number 3 for the Raiders. I must not name him, but no, but Chase Brown, I'm gonna be honest, man. I know the offensive line's been bad. The offense with Jake Browning really wasn't good last week, and it's been a struggle for him, and it's really worked against him. Defenses have been able to swarm him pretty quickly, but even in terms of like expected rushing yards above what's expected, like EPA, he's in the negatives right now. He among next gen stats running backs, he's bottom 5 in EPA. Like, and I see that on the field. I personally don't think he's doing much more than what the system gives him. He's not winning the one-on-one situations. He's not beating coverage. Like, he doesn't look that good on the field to me. I really think that we saw that flash as a day 3 running back, and then otherwise we're seeing a day 3 running back doing day 3 running back things. I'm not seeing a lot of Chase Brown. I'm pretty worried about him. If you could sell him right now, I would do it. But to answer this question, I'm going with Golden for sure.
All right, I love this question. Don Platt, I'm your daddy. Sick name. He says, any GPP team I should be looking at this week? This is a DFS question. So this means guaranteed prize pool. I would say one that is kind of slept on, and when I'm looking at ownership across the board, other than Bijan Robinson, there's not a lot of Atlanta Falcons who are invested in. This is a fantastic matchup. I would say that Atlanta Falcons is definitely a team I'm targeting in GPP this week, just based off of lower ownership, and we know how much of an upside this offense has. So when we see them boom, they'll definitely boom really big. What about you?
I'm gonna be honest. I'm not a crazy DFS guy. I do like one DFS line of the league. Can you explain to me a little bit more what GPP means?
So like whatever contest that you're doing where there's a guaranteed prize pool. So like say it's DK, FanDuel, or Owner's Box like
Okay.
we do.
Yeah.
Just that contest, right? So when you're looking at the Sunday slate between 1
Okay.
p.m. and 4
I see
p.m.,
what you mean.
who do you think is like a sneaky sleeper team with a lot of scoring upside that not a lot of
Ooh,
people are in on this week?
I see. Okay, I see what you mean now. Okay, that makes sense. Oh man, I think I honestly I know, man, because I don't know how many people are going to be betting on Travion Henderson this week, because he's been really frustrating for a lot of managers
He's
because we were
he's fo-
hyping up. What's that?
he's 48% owned, so a lot of people
Oh, a
are
lot of people are on him. Never
yeah.
mind. I was wondering what his ownership is going to be. I would agree with you that probably Bijan Robinson is a great play. I would also maybe look at as well. I really like what we saw. I wonder how much AJ Brown is rostered or Smitty is rostered, because these two guys, the
Smith
Philadelphia Eagles.
is Smith is 16%, AJ Brown is 22%. So this is fantastic.
This is low, yeah. I like what we saw in the second half of this game against the Rams last week. They got really involved in the game in that second half, and the Eagles really started to find momentum in their passing game. Yes, they were down. The Rams were probably playing a little bit of softer coverage, but I think they carry that momentum into this week against a questionable Tampa-based secondary, and they use AJ Brown and Devontae Smith a lot, and I think we see a potential shootout game here. It could be a lower scoring game as well because both defenses have been playing all right this year, especially the Eagles defense, and we see the Bucks with some injuries on offense. But we know Baker can score. We know Hurts in this offense can score. I think we see AJ Brown and Devontae Smith both get very, very involved in this game, and I think they're really good plays at their current prices because after last week, people are starting to get excited about them, but they were so frustrating early in the year that people are afraid to touch this offense.
I love that breakdown. I love that analysis. Call to action, guys. We're going to take a moment because we're so close to a milestone. We typically don't do this, so I apologize, but I'm absolutely shameless in this. We are 9 subscribers. We are single digits away, guys, from 2,000. Please, if you're watching this, I'm saying please. I ain't too proud to beg. Head over to the Big Draft Energy YouTube channel. God bless you. Make sure you smash the subscription. Like, you guys are helping me make my dream come true. And thank you guys so much for all the questions coming in here. We're always going to prioritize your questions, guys, and answer all of them. So thank you guys so much for helping make this dream come true. And thank you so much, Hutch, for being so awesome on the show. All right, my man, VBZ2X. We're just going to call you 2X. He says, pick one full PPR. It's not applicable for quarterback, but I respect the fact that you took what we asked and you applied it. So thank you.
Remember, Goff had a nice touchdown catch last year.
Yeah,
Jared Goff
yeah,
did. He
true,
had a nice
true.
touchdown reception. You got
I
that
mean,
PPR
Josh
point.
Allen had a catch and rushing
He
touchdown at one
did.
point. That
Yeah.
made me win one of my DFS slates. By the way, guys, before I was big draft energy, I was big DFS energy. We are established in these DFS streets. Put some respect on our name. Shout out to Drafters Fantasy. If you guys want to double your first deposit up to $100, make sure you use promo code DISCO to double your first deposit, dollar for dollar, up to $100. So the question here from 2X is Geno, Jared, or Stafford? I like Geno for the ceiling play and Stafford for the floor here. Where are you at?
Yeah, this is a tough one. This is most definitely a tough one. I want to say Jared just because of that offense, but when you look at what the Browns have done a lot this year, they're really slowing games down, especially with the stopping of the run. We saw 10 points to 13 points against Green Bay and Cleveland in their last week. I think we could see a similar thing for Detroit. We could see them slow that run game down, slow this offense down a little bit. As a result, Jared Goff likely wouldn't be a great fantasy play. So I think I'm with you here is that Geno gives you the ceiling, especially in a game where you're probably going to have to throw the football to keep up. You have Jacoby Myers, you have Brock Bowers in there, you have Ashton Genty. I think he's just a game away from breakout. I think we're just
Yeah,
getting so close to a huge game for Ashton Genty. He looks really good with his touches. And again, all of his rushing yards are after contact right now. Like he's a good player.
yeah.
He's just you got to get him the football more. You got to find creative ways to get him the football, and you got to get him more acclimated to this offense and the system. And he'll have some monster games. But I agree with you, Geno for ceiling, and I think Stafford gives you a nice floor.
Yeah. So here's my notes why I like Geno. When you look at Chicago, they allow the fourth most points to opposing quarterbacks at 27.67. Most passing touchdowns per game allowed to opposing quarterbacks, 2.67. So almost 3 touchdowns. Well within Geno Smith's wheelhouse. 7th most passing yards, 256. 8th most pass completions, despite 18th most pass attempts. So that is 75% passing completion rate that they allow to opposing quarterbacks. This is a fantastic matchup for Geno, and Geno is one of my favorite DFS quarterbacks this week. Great question, though. Goff or Danny Dimes? I'm going to give the lead to Jared Goff because even though I'm scared of the Cleveland defense, I feel like Jared Goff travels well, and I'll tell you why I feel like he travels well. When you look at the Cleveland Browns defense, especially in the secondary, they play man, especially in today's day and age. It's unheard of. They play man at the highest rate in the NFL by far at 49% of snaps, which translates to explosives. And when you look, even though
JMO.
small sample size, Jameson Williams, he's another guy who I think is a smash start. Small sample size. He has the highest winning rate against man coverage, whereas EPA is 23 or over. So I like Jared Goff here for the touchdown upside to JMO. I would say he's the ceiling play. Danny Pesos is what's we're going to call him this week. I'm counting him out once again this week against the LA Rams. If he beats the Rams, he's the real deal, and I'm done. I'm done fading him. But it's Jared Goffel. These are 2 quarterbacks I can't stand. Jared Goffel or Danny Pesos. I'm going to give the lead to Jared Goff just because I know that offense is borderline matchup proof. Where are you at?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, honestly, yeah, you got it. I think slightly lean Goff here, but I will say Daniel Jones has looked really good. Like he's
Yeah,
looked really good so far this year. I don't think it's gonna last. I think there's going to be a point where it falls apart or it comes back down to earth. Similar to what we saw with Sam Darnold in those last couple games against Detroit and LA in week 18 and the week 1 of the playoffs. But man, it looks really good so far. And this matchup with LA is tempting, but I think I'm with you that we at least see a couple big plays for Goff in this game with Jameson Williams stretching the football downfield. It just makes sense how much of a man coverage beater he is. He's
yeah.
way too fast. No one on the field can keep up with him. And then Mullen St. Brown runs some crisp routes. There's no one that's going to be able to cover those 2 on the Brown secondary side. So you're going to see some solid passes here from Goff. And I think you get a baseline of 2 touchdowns.
So here's why I think Danny Dimes is a lie. Okay, and or Indiana.
It is a lie. It's not going to last. It really is not.
Here's
But
why I think it's a
go
lie.
for it.
Because Spencer Rattler, Jake Browning, any other quarterback who we deem to be struggling, just people who suck, quarterbacks who suck in football, they would put up elite production if they had 2 matchups out of the 3 being the Miami Dolphins and the Tennessee Titans. So with that being said, if he does it against the Rams, he's the real deal. The real deal. Oh, by the way, Jameson Williams, he was on Amon-Ra St. Brown and his brother's show, Equanimous St. Brown. They have a stream, and Jameson Williams was the one being interviewed there.
I
And
remember
on
this.
that stream, Jameson Williams said that he likes putting a scoop of Oreo McFlurry in his McDouble.
It's pretty interesting. I think we saw that from him a while back too, that he said that, and it became a thing for a minute. But yeah, it's not good.
I mean, like it goes to show how hot and cold he can be as a receiver in your fantasy football lineups. Boom, boom.
There you go. There you go.
BBZ2X says also have Matthew Golden, but starting Bijan, Nico, Udunze, Scatabo, McConkey. I have Henderson and Golden, but do I force one in because of matchup and maybe breakout?
Ooh.
I think you're fine. Your fantasy football lineup is fantastic.
I think you're solid here as well. Yeah, Scatterby you can't bench. He looks like he has the workhorse role for the Giants, especially as a receiver. And Dunze's wide receiver one. Then the other two guys are studs. The only guy I have a question with is McConkey, but like he's gonna get a solid baseline this week. It's hard to bench him.
Like you look at Scatabo right now, right? So
Dude, it's unbelievable. Dude,
100%.
he looks so fun. I really hope he works out. I'm not sure it will, but I really hope he works out.
So like a lot of people are saying bench Scatabo, bench Scatabo. I understand because we haven't seen a lot of production thus far against the Los Angeles Chargers. But when you're also looking at that opportunity, that front office for the New York Giants and their coaching staff made a decision to protect and save their jobs to start Jackson Dart and bench Russell Wilson because they want to win. With Tyrone Tracy being out, if Cam Scatabo doesn't get 20 to 25 touches this week, just volume alone, and I think he's going to be a volume monster, then they're also doing a disservice. You can't make one decision to save your jobs and then also not play your star running back and feed him 25 times. Like if we see Singletary get double figures in touches, we are rioting. We are 100% rioting. I hate the New York Giants. Go Pats. They broke my heart. VB also says happy PR need to flex Ricky, Pershaw, Pickens, Kamara. Also have Judkins and HN starting RBs. I would say I'm going with Ricky Pershaw and Pickens here. It's not that I hate Alvin Kamara. It's just at what point is this game going to be a blowout? We just see him sit.
Yeah, and also, you mentioned it earlier in the show, the lack of receiving involvement is a red flag right now because the thing is
And
we
it's
love
half
about
PPR.
Kamara. Yeah, and it is half PPR, but the thing we love about Kamara is that receiving involvement because not only does it give you those PPR or half PPR extra bonus points, but it keeps him involved in the game. If he's not on the field on third downs, he's not involved in the game. If he's not getting targets, he's not consistently involved in the game because the Saints are a team that are going to be down a lot. And we have a matchup here with the Bills where this could be 48-10 all over again against Seattle. Like this could be a similar score here. And
in the first half.
Yeah, if the first half, exactly. If Kamara gets like 13 rush attempts for like 38 yards and then gets like and then it's like a blowout and we don't see much targets, like you're just gonna be disappointed for fantasy football. So I think you have to flex Ricky Pearsall. He's been way too hot to bench lately. And then George Pickens without CeeDee Lamb should get a ton of volume. And even if this game ends up being a blowout, which I think it totally could, I think the Packers come out and stop this team, you're going to have at least some garbage time work for the wide receiver and Pickens, especially deep downfield if they're desperately trying to make some plays.
Now, say Juan Jennings is healthy because I've been on the road all day. I drove my wife to Algonquin Park and back, so I haven't gotten word, but I don't know if you have word. But if Juwan Jennings is healthy, do you believe that? Because I feel like Juwan Jennings has been the higher targeted player when both players are out there. Do you still believe in Ricky Pearsall, or are we leaning elsewhere?
I do, just because there's so much emptiness in this receiving room. There's so much room for production. You have George Kittle hurt, you have Brandon Ayuk hurt, Debo left in the offseason. McCaffrey's been filling in that role here with about 40.5 receiving yards a game, or just over 40 receiving yards a game right now. I believe that's where he's at on terms of per game basis. So you got plenty of room for Jennings and Pearsall to both be very fantasy relevant. So I think that, especially because Pearsall can make some huge plays downfield. So I'm totally comfortable with Pearsall even if Jennings plays.
All right, let's answer the rest of these rapid fire and try to. So South C77, we'll go one after another. So I'll take this one. He says, would you start Fields or Daniel Jones? Fields. Eagle 39 says, agreed, Hutch. They hit Fields late after he slid early in the game. That didn't get called.
I knew it, man. He looked so messed up after that hit, and it was just like there's no way he's not concussed right now.
Scott, are you saying drop Purdy for Daniel Jones or them, and why are you dropping either one of them? Scott, please elaborate, and thank you so much. Scott says, don't forget to like and subscribe. Appreciate you, Scott. Nathan Boyd says, this one's all you, buddy. Should I make this trade in half PPR? I give up Josh Allen, Hampton, Henderson to receive Mayfield. I have Caleb Williams, Ferguson. I have McBride, and Josh Jacobs and Justin Jefferson. Holy crap.
Whoa.
So give up
about blowing up your league.
Henderson, Josh Allen, 4, Mayfield, Ferguson, Jacobs, and Jefferson.
Wow. Oh, geez. I think you do it. Yeah, I think you gotta do it. Ferguson's the tight end target leader right now in the NFL. Jacobs is good at running back. Jefferson, I think we'll see more Jefferson production soon. It's been
Yeah.
a little slow to start, but I think we'll get there for him. Hampton, I think, is a tad overvalued right now, to be honest. And Henderson, I like. But yeah, no, I think I'm gonna receive this end of this trade.
Okay. Okay. I love Hampton. All right. Need to start 3. You got this one too because James is a big fan. I believe you met James at the expo as
I
well.
did, yes. I got to meet James. Yeah, I
God
love
bless
James.
James. Literally the greatest human being on the planet. It's not even close. Second to my wife. Half PPR, AJ Brown, Matthew Golden, Emeka Egbuka. Needs to start 3. Quentin Johnson, Judkins, or Keon Coleman. So
Mhm.
the start 3, AJ Brown, Golden, Egbuka, Johnston, QJ, Judkins, or Coleman.
Yeah, you're starting AJ Brown firstly. I mean, we saw the flash last week in the second half of last year. It's last game against the Rams. I think it's going to flow into this week. You start AJ Brown. He's a stud of a player. He's the best. I think he's the most talented player on this list. And then next, I think you got to go Ibuka. I think he's a lock for like 6 or 7 catches this week. With Godwin coming back and not being super healthy, Evans being out, Cade Otton just not being a pure part of this offense right now. It's going to be Ibuka and no one else in this team
I love
to
that you
start.
mentioned that name.
What's that?
I love that you mentioned that name, Kate Otten. I
Yeah,
love that you mentioned that name.
you don't like Cade Otton?
No, I look at the splits with Kate Otten when we see, and we'll get back to your question. I promise you, James.
Mhm.
But when you look at the splits with either Godwin or Evans out or
Otton
both
steps
out,
in.
Otten nukes,
Steps in.
right? And even though it's
Yeah,
not an advantageous matchup on paper, I am sprinkling a lot of Kate Otten in some of my DFS
I don't
lineups.
hate it.
I
I
think
don't
he's
hate it at all.
got nuke upside this week. So who are your 3?
Yeah, so it'll be AJ Brown, Albiel Buka, I think is a baseline of receptions this week. And the last one's tough between Golden, Johnson, Judkins. I think Golden brings that upside. I mean, like I said before, I think he can go like 602 this week. I could see a massive breakout game for him. So I think he gives you the pure ceiling, but he also has a very scary floor. And I think overall, when he talks about floor, I think you got to go with Johnson. The touchdown usage is just so good. He's always getting used in that red zone area. He's not being he's being targeted downfield in the short intermediate ranges. He's making yards after the catch. So I think if you need pure ceiling, you go Golden. But I think the smarter, safer play is Quentin Johnson.
All right, I'm going to quote my brother Sleez. Man, you got a lot of good problems here. I don't know if
Yeah,
I'm
no,
in
these are a
here.
lot of great
Yeah,
players. Like
I,
you're not. I don't think you're gonna be disappointed mostly
yeah,
here.
I don't know if I'm inhaling or exhaling as I speak right now. This is my best Sleez impression, but you need to take 2 of those wide receivers and you need to tear up, brother. Oh yeah!
I
Shout out to
agree.
Sleez. Shout out to our guy Sleez. We love you, buddy. Nathan Boyd says start London, Tet, Scatable, or Genty half PPR. The answer is
Gosh.
Scatable for me.
Yeah, oh my gosh, it's so sad he had to bench Genty, but yeah, the answer is Scatterboo. He is so involved in the running game, so
Yeah,
involved in the receiving game, and with a rookie quarterback coming in, you gotta lean on that running back. And we saw, I know we like the Chargers defense, but they just got absolutely shredded by J.K. Dobbins this last week. It might have been a bit of a revenge game for him, but still,
yeah.
we saw the Chargers defense have some weakness, and I think Scatterboo can have a solid game as well.
Scattaboo. All the volume, man. All the volume. That's what I'm betting on. And
Yeah.
I hate saying start Scatable over Drake London, but if I have to go between the two, it's Scat right now because just the ceilings through the roof, and like even against a tough matchup in the Kansas City Chiefs defense, he still found a way to find the end zone. He was the one shining light for them last Sunday night.
Yeah.
Jason Williams says trade my Chase Brown for his Ricky Pearsall in half PPR. You're saying
Smash.
yes?
Yeah, I'm going to throw a bit of a hot take out there. I would not be shocked at all if Chase Brown is not the starting running back of this team by the end of the season.
I love that because
Todd
I've been
Brooks, man.
I've been beating the drum that Chase Brown's one of the most overvalued players in fantasy football this offseason.
Yeah, man. It
So
was rough. It was a
I'm
rough offseason. I did not like Chase Brown.
yeah. I mean I don't like inflation, and it's one of the most inflated values for sure.
Yeah.
James says Disco Hutch, appreciate it. Thank you. Please subscribe, smash like for our guys.
Let's go.
Thank you, buddy. Start young LJ. So I'll take this one. He says start Bo Nix, Marcus Mariota, or Geno Smith full PPR. I'm gonna say it's Bo Nix, but next up would be Geno Smith, and it's negligible. I think Bo Nix, he's due, and he's got a fantastic matchup against the Cincinnati Bengals. All right, Curbnut says DeAndre Swift or Scam Scatabo. I used to call him Scam Scatabo. I am the biggest
Yeah.
Cam Scatabo hater this offseason. I'm eating my words. He's proven me wrong. So who are you starting here? DeAndre Swift or Scatabo?
It's Scadbo all day.
Yep.
He's got the workhorse role, and he looks better on the field. It's easy.
I love that. Hussein, what's up? Who's Goats?
What's
My
up?
guy, Hussein Conundrums. We need the Hussein Conundrums right now. Fly Eagles 39 with the W Hutch. We love you, Hutch. Huge fan. James is so awesome, man. If Jennings plays flex Persall or go Turpin or Henderson, full PPR plus 1 point per 10 return yards.
Oh, Henderson gets his return
I
yard.
love
Henderson gets
that.
his return yards.
So does Turpin.
Yeah, Turpin as well. Yeah.
And there's a vacancy there. Turpin is the higher upside guy if we're talking about the wide receiver 2 option. You're looking at Tolbert, Turpin, or Jonathan Mingo, God bless, or Flournoy. I would say Turpin's the right call here, but I'm honestly flexing Persall regardless.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that's the call.
W Hutch from Galaxy Pickers. All right, you got this one. He says sit 1 half PPR. So the options are Keenan, Zay Flowers, Scatterbo, Chuba. Who are you sitting?
Oh, I don't want to sit any of those. Those are some great options. I like Chuba in the receiving game this week with the receivers out. I love Scatterbo, as we talked about. Zay Flowers has been very good this year. We had a weird game last week, and Keenan is 60 yards and a touchdown every week so far this year. He's so evolved. Oh, man, that's really, really difficult. I think I'm going to end up benching. Gosh, I think I'm going to end up benching Chuba just because we've seen a little bit of Rico Dowdle involvement. But I just like his prop at 2.5 receptions. I think that's a smash over, given the lack of receivers in
I
this
like
offense.
his longest reception at 9.5 as well. I'm benching.
Yeah, that's a smash.
All right. Micah says start Sutton or Jacoby Myers half PPR. I'm frick. You want to play both of these guys in fantastic matchups and scenarios. I think Jacoby has the more reliable option. He's the more reliable option. We're seeing more reliable usage with Jacoby, whereas Sutton sometimes disappears because Sean Payton hates your team. I would say I'm going to give the lean to Cortland Sutton just because he is the pure alpha in that wide receiver room, and hopefully last week was just a sign of things to come. You always want to start your studs against the Cincinnati Bengals defense. Where are you at?
Yeah, and you got touchdown upside here with Sutton that Jacoby simply doesn't have right now. It's got to be Sutton.
Yeah. KJ Frederick says, "What's up, guys? Better flex start. Debo, Pretty Ricky, or Troy Franklin. Troy Franklin should have been released. You should have never picked him up. KJ should have never picked him up. Monday night, full PPR starting Nico and Drake London. I'll let you answer this one, and I'm going to agree with whoever you answer, buddy, unless you say Troy Franklin.
Yeah, this is hard because Terry McLaurin's out makes it a really tempting week for Debo Samuel against this Atlanta team that has some injuries in that secondary. Man, I think if Jennings plays, I think I go Debo, but if Jennings does not play, I'm going to continue rolling the fire with Pearsall.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Pearsall regardless. Who's go with the Hussein Conundrums? He says, who should I start this week? Quarterback for his full PPR league. Marcus Mariota, no. Trevor Lawrence, CJ Stroud.
Heck no.
I'm actually giving the lead to CJ Stroud because he has the most advantageous matchup out of the bunch.
He does, but I mean, this looked bad. It looked bad, and I think the thing is Tennessee doesn't score enough on offense. Like I think this could be like a 13-9 kind of game. Like I really see the under on this game hitting pretty hard.
I believe the like if any game is the game where they're due for a get right game, this is the game, especially against the Tennessee Titans. So I'm going to play the matchup game here in CJ Stroud. I don't trust his running game because his running game also has a plus matchup. So I think that translates into more passing production. Yeah. Gabriel, we see your question, brother. We would love to answer you. Please head over to the Big Draft Energy YouTube channel. We are 9 subscribers last time I checked, away from our goal of 2,000. So please head over, buddy. Thank you. And says, will Thornton still have targets with Worthy back? I think he'll still have some opportunity. He does play in that Worthy role, but he'll be out there more likely than not and more often than not. It's just, is he due for a touchdown like we bet on the last 2 weeks? I don't think so.
Yeah, no, I think when you look at Thornton, he's playing the Xavier Worthy role right now. And once Xavier Worthy has his role back, it's not going to be Thornton. So I think I wouldn't play Thornton in fantasy this week.
But is there a world where Xavier, like this is Freaky Friday stuff, is there a world where Xavier Worthy plays the Rashee Rice role and Thornton stays in the Xavier Worthy role? And there's that's a possibility. I just outsmarted myself and my head hurts now. Rocky, sit down. Do you guys see my dog right now?
He's jumping up,
on the windowsill. Rocky, what are you doing? What are you doing, mister? Okay, sit one. Waddle. Rocky,
Uh-oh.
stop that. Sit down. Sit down. Sit down, buddy. Sit. See my good boy. All right, the three Walketeers says Waddle, DK, Genty, and Purcell. You got this one.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna be sitting. Oh goodness, that's tough. I think I'm gonna sit. Golly, that's hard. Waddle, DK, Genty, and Pearsall. I think we're gonna sit Metcalf here. Metcalf's been a really tough one for fantasy football so far. He's had 17 targets total on the season. I think only 10 receptions in 3 games. He's been completely touchdown dependent, not being used as an alpha wide receiver one. More of just like this deep threat that occasionally runs slants. Like it's really just slants and then go routes for DK Metcalf right now, along with a couple fades in the red zone. Like he is not a wide receiver one right now. He is kind of just a guy in this offense that's occasionally scoring touchdowns. I would want to sit him here for fantasy purposes.
Love it. What's up, Who Hames? Shout out to my guy, Who Hames.
What
Thanks
up?
for coming by. I just brought the dogs in the office and closed the blinds. Hopefully they start freaking out. I apologize for all the barking, fellas. It's just me managing these two musketeers here. We got Rocky and Apollo, and they're always causing havoc. But I love them to pieces. BK says, "What's up, guys? Take me off one of these players, please." Bucky, Luke McCaffrey. What?
Luke McCaffrey.
Well, I mean, Luke McCaffrey did find some usage when McLaurin went down, but it could also be Jalen Lane. It could be Brown. Scatterbo, Demarcus Robinson. I guess take me off of one of those players. It's probably Luke McCaffrey. I think Demarcus Robinson has good upside, but I also prefer Robinson for best ball.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next question. Knicks or Fields? It's Fields for me. Where are you at?
Yeah, a 4-point touchdown. Fields gives them a little bit. I mean, Knicks has some rushing potential too, but Fields provides it at a different level. You got to go Fields.
Oh my God, we're almost caught up. Let's go. Start three: Chase Brown or start 3: Chase Brown, Henderson, Keenan, Golden, Ridley. I think you have to sit Ridley at this point.
Absolutely. Yeah, Alec Amenar might be the wide receiver one of this offense.
Yeah, I'm sitting Ridley and Hendo here.
Mm-hmm.
Start Jalen Warren or Pollard. Warren with an injury, if he's healthy, it's not the best matchup, but Pollard doesn't have a fantastic matchup either. Who are you leaning here? I'm going to give the lean to Warren.
It's easily Warren for me. You see the receiving involvement. He's put up 4+ catches each of the last 2 weeks. He's heavily involved in the running game as well. He's the guy. Caleb Johnson is in the shadow realm at this point. Like he's not involved at all. It's Warren's backfield.
Oh, I love this question here. This next one is fantastic. Cole Kmet or Kyle Pitts? Leaning towards Cole Kmet. Don't do that.
This is brutal.
Don't do that. And I'll tell you why I love this matchup. Washington allows the 5th most receiving yards, 71, despite only allowing the 17th most receptions at 4.67 receptions per game to the position. This translates to the most yards per reception at 15.21 to the position. That is well within his wheelhouse. That is exactly what Kyle Pitts does. I like Kyle Pitts for an anytime touchdown and a nice explosion for a week. So I'm going to lean Kyle Pitts for the upside here.
I like it.
Thank you. Our GQ, sick name, says need help starting a flex half PPR. Chuba, Judkins, Keenan Allen, QJ. It's Judkins or Keenan Allen for me. Where are you at?
Yeah, I'm in a similar territory. I think it's going to be Keenan Allen for me. The baseline involvement, like I said earlier, 60 yards and a touchdown every single week so far this year. He's got a baseline involvement. He looks like the Keenan Allen of old in this Chargers offense, where he's just consistently making people miss, getting open in the zones, coverages, and beating man coverage too. If you could put a man on him, he is just out routing you. Allen is the guy.
Third and Keenan. It's a thing. Thanks, guys. You're very welcome, Nathan. Thank you for your support, brother. Appreciate you. Man, I wish I grabbed Scotabo instead of Ben. I don't hate Benson though.
No, Benson. No, I think a buy low window is open right now. He looks great in that game.
I like Benson. I didn't like Benson's usage. Nowhere near RB1. Well, the usage didn't. The game script wasn't beneficial because he went against one of the best defenses in football. It's not going to be like
catches too. The receiving volume was there. Like it looks good. I'm excited for Benson.
That was one of my locks, over 16.5 receiving yards for Benson.
Yeah, it was easy.
Smashed. Tommy Finch says start 1 Chubb, Woody Marks, or Devonta Smith. Oh, gross. Flex, full PPR. So here's the thing. I like Chubb and Woody Marks in their matchup. I hate their offensive line and I hate them. I like their matchup, hate them. So I'm going to give the lean to Devonta Smith. What about you?
Yeah, play the actually talented player who got really involved last week. It's got to be Smith for me.
Yeah. BK says if y'all like TB passing attack, Tampa Bay passing attack, consider Sterling Shepard as well. It's not a bad call. It's not a bad call. We need one more viewer. We have 666 viewers. God bless. Smash like, please. Appreciate y'all. I might just stop tuning in. Thanks. You're very welcome. 664. Thank God. No. Everybody don't leave. Come back, or we need more people to watch. Nathan Boyd says, when you can't decide who to start, one of my favorite things to do is ask your opponent to choose between the guys you are considering. But then you might get, like, they might give you a Jedi mind trick and tell you what you don't want to hear when you want to hear it. And you're like, oh, if that's his lane, I'm going to go with the opposite because he doesn't want me to win. 6-7 guru. I don't get the 6-7 stuff. Hutch keeps
someone noticed. Yes, bro. I keep hitting 6-7
this shows
over
the
here.
difference in our age. I am an old man.
Do you know what 6-7 is?
I've heard it. I've seen it on the TikTok.
Okay, good. Okay. It doesn't like it didn't come from anywhere. I mean, it didn't come from somewhere, but I don't really know. No, anytime someone just says 6-7, you just go 6-7 and you just like put your hands up like this, and I don't makes no sense, but it's hilarious and I love it.
Well, I'm 6'8". So there's that. Oh God, I just
someone clip that, please.
I just
clip that.
I just aged myself so much. All right, we're caught up. We're caught up. Let's
go.
Yes.
And one came in. We got a question.
Frank Farraco says, half PPR, Chase Brown or Henderson. If Brown, then Henderson or Coleman. Chase Brown for me. What about you?
I don't know. I think I'm going with Henderson in this one, man. I like the upside for Henderson in this one.
I respect it. And says bench. And after this one, we'll go through the games one by one. And if there's chats, we'll catch up with it after we break down the game.
Sounds good.
Chase Brown, Terry Harvey, Terry's out.
Terry's out.
Godwin, Daniel Jones, not really looking good. Should I try to get Kirk, Bateman, or Sharp off waivers? Who could you drop for any of them? You don't have a IR spot for Terry? I'd start with that. I'm not dropping anybody. I wouldn't
drop anybody here for any of those players.
I would say off of waivers, I think Bateman gives you the highest ceiling, but he's also the most volatile. I think Kirk is non-existent right now, which is sad to say. I think Sharp is only going to be beneficial if and when an injury happens to Kenneth Walker.
I wouldn't say that about Christian Kirk. I mean, he was injured the first couple of weeks, but he came back, had some solid targets. And the thing I would like about him is he ran a ton of routes and he was on the field a lot. And he didn't make a lot of his targets in his first week back off the injury, which is, it makes sense. First week back off injury, but
how many targets did he have? 6 or 7? All right, I'm done. I apologize.
You get it now. You
know. I know. I apologize.
How am I supposed to talk after that? But how am I supposed to say any real analysis after that? But anyways, no. Looking at Kirk, the receivers in this Texans offense aren't doing anything right now. It's Nico Collins and it's nobody else. You have a very clear opportunity here for who's going to be the wide receiver 2. And the rookies who I liked in Higgins and Noel, especially Noel, aren't stepping up. And Kirk has a very clear opportunity. So I wouldn't say he's dead, but I also wouldn't drop anybody on your roster for Kirk right now. I love how, I know it means Alec Aminar, but I love how you wrote AO. Just AO.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
AO.
You know what else is fantastic? We are 5 subscribers away from 2,000. If you were one of these 669 people watching on X, head over to the Big Draft Energy YouTube channel. Smash the like, subscribe. It's completely free. 5 subscribers away. Thank you so much to everybody tuning in and supporting the gym. Genuinely grateful. This is unbelievable. I'm so grateful that you guys are giving me the opportunity to talk about fantasy football and give you guys fantasy football advice and potentially turn this into a living. So thank you guys so much for making this dream come true. Curb Nuts from the Patreon says, Devontae Adams or Olave or Ricky Pearsall, hamstring injury concerns me. It's Devontae Adams for me. What about you?
Yeah, I think you got to go that direction. He's way too involved. You know who leads the NFL in targets though right now? And for wide receivers, it's Chris Olave, man.
Yeah, for sure. And you know who leads the league in targets at the tight end?
Jake Ferguson.
Is it Ferguson?
Leader for tight end targets? Yeah, Jake Ferguson.
I was going to say Jawan Johnson.
No, it's Jake Ferguson right now. Yeah, he's got him.
Second. But I say that to say this: when you're looking at that team, they're playing from behind constantly, so they're going to get a lot of targets. Just depends on quality targets, right?
Yeah, and Shahid's been very, very involved in this offense. He's had a couple good plays.
Absolutely. Hussein says, so you guys are leaning towards CJ Stroud then. I'm leaning towards CJ Stroud. Who was your lean? Do you remember the question? His options were I almost got
It
it.
was Stroud and Mariota and Lawrence, I think.
Mariota, Trevor Lawrence, CJ Stroud. Fantastic memory.
Thank you. Yeah, I think, man, the only thing I like about the one thing I like about Mario is the rushing volume. He's not afraid to run the football, 6 times 40 yards last week. And while we could see a collapse in the passing game a little bit from him in this coming week against the Atlanta Falcons, what we're going to get is the rushing volume, and that gives him a solid baseline. With CJ Stroud, we just have no baseline. He does not run the football, and his offense is just struggling. I would hope it's a get right week, like he said against Tennessee, like a Disco mentioned against Tennessee Titans. I'd hope it could be. But it also could go in the very other direction. Cedar Stroud could have another like 8-point week. I think I'd play Mariota.
Very close.
It is
And
close.
says, appreciate you guys. I appreciate you appreciating us, appreciating you, brother. Thank you. Well, man, so you guys are leaning towards CJ Stroud over Marcus. He's saying Marcus Mariota. I'm saying CJ Stroud. So that's where we're at with that. Okay. Game one. You got your Canton hat?
I'm ready, bro. I got the Hall of Fame hat. I'm ready to go for this.
Let's go. All right, game one. We got this game kicking off, and we'll be live for the first half of this, at least answering your start sit questions tomorrow. We'll be live at 9 a.m. Eastern time, and we'll be live for the first half doing a watch party. And when I say we, I mean me. So you got the Minnesota Vikings. They are 2.5-point favorites versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. What do you guys think of these new slides? I put a lot of time and effort to learning how to do this. What do you guys think of this? Chat, let me know. So the Vikings 2.5-point favorites versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. The over/under is 41. Game kicks off at 9:30 a.m. Eastern time in Dublin. This is game one of the Sunday slate. So tell me what you like about this game, what you don't like about this game. Straight up, who do you think is winning? Do you like any of the odds here for the money line, for the over/under, for the spread? Where you at here?
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned this early in the show, but because this is an international game at 9:30 a.m., these games get wacky. These games get really unpredictable. We've seen these games get crazy high scoring or like no offense at all. We've seen some wild things happen in these games that were very unexpected. And I think in this one, it could be a similar outcome. This is that's not the first international game of the year, but one of the first ones. And overall in the game, I think
first one in Ireland ever.
Yes, first one in Ireland ever. There you go.
Yeah.
But I'm favoring Minnesota in this game. I think Minnesota edges out. I think the 2.5-point line is a perfect line. I think Minnesota just barely beats this team. I think they have way too good of a roster. And I think Carson Wentz does enough with Kevin O'Connell at head coach to get this team to win. Jordan Mason in the running game's been looking really good. For some bets I like, I think Jalen Warren's reception prop is fantastic. 3.5 receptions. Rodgers in week 1 after a 2-catch game from Warren said, we need to get this guy more involved. And we've seen 4 and 5 catches in each of the last 2 weeks for Warren. He's been very involved in this receiving game. And as a result, his line is at 3.5. Last time I checked on DraftKings, you're getting plus odds on it too for that over-under. I think that's a great play. And then I'm looking at Jordan Mason, under 1.5 receptions. I know under 1.5 receptions is a weird line to play, but it's plus 130 on DraftKings, and it's happened. And for Mason, in his last 13 games that he played fully healthy, he hit 2 receptions in 4 of them. Like, you're getting plus odds for something that barely ever happens. It's not barely a quarter of the time. So I think that's a really solid play there, even though it's a weird line with under 1.5. But those are the 2 bets I really like.
I love that. So here's what I'm going to say. I like Pittsburgh to cover and also like Pittsburgh in the money line. I'm not touching the over or under for all the reasons that you alluded to earlier. I just feel like this defense is going to be suffocating, and Carson Wentz is going to show why he's been on 5-6 teams in the last 5-6 years.
6 teams, 6 years.
So my favorite bet here is TJ Hawkinson over his 37.5 receiving yards or his 15.5 longest reception. I think he's a smash start, especially with Jordan Addison taking away the second best defender in for the receivers, allowing him to go against another terrible DB. And another reason why I absolutely love Hawkinson here is when you look at what Pittsburgh allows, they allow the 10th most receptions to tight ends, 5.67, 6th most receiving yards, 70.33 to tight ends, 5th most yards per reception, 12.41. So 13.5 is well within reason here, and tied first for most receiving touchdowns per game to opposing tight ends. I think TJ Hawkinson is a smash spot here, and I love TJ Hawkinson this game.
Yeah, I like it. And one thing about Hutchinson too, we know Wentz loves the tight end position. I mean, we saw it in Philly in his time there. We've seen it on other teams. Wentz is not afraid to throw the tight end position. And Hutchinson had 12 and 15 yards in his first 2 games. And the moment Wentz came in, it was a huge performance for him. And I think that's not a coincidence. I think that's the fact that Wentz loves this tight end position. They wanted to get Hutchinson going. And like you said, Addison provides a lot of distraction, a lot of attention for the defense on the other side of the field, opposite of Justin Jefferson. And I think that opens up things for Hutchinson in the middle of the field as well. So I like that play too.
Nice. Hussein says, thank you. You're very welcome. Hussein, my question is, who are you leaning? Are you leaning Mariota or are you leaning with CJ Stroud? Who do you love more? Bones says, Fires always Discord. Appreciate you, Bones. Bucky, Mason, HN, Brees, pick 2. I'm going with Brees and HN.
HN's the definite start. And then yeah, you gotta go Brees. That matchup is way too tricky. You just gotta
It's the
play
matchup,
Brees.
only the matchup.
It's the matchup, man. That Miami is just so bad.
Yeah. Caden asks, Love or Knicks? I'm going to give the lean to Love. Where are you at?
Yes, 100%. Yeah.
He also says half PPR, pick 1, Sutton, BTJ, or Debo. It's BTJ.
Yeah. I feel bad doing that, though. I feel bad doing that.
I understand. I respect it. All right, next game, we got the Carolina Panthers. They're 5.5-point underdogs coming into New England against my New England Patriots in Foxborough. The over-under is 43.5. What do you like in this game?
Yeah, this one's really interesting because we just saw the shutout 30-0 against the Atlanta Falcons for the Panthers this last week, and now they're underdogs against New England Patriots. Looking at this game, I talked about it earlier. I love Chuba Hubbard's reception and receiving yards lines at 2.5 receptions, 17.5 yards. I'm smashing that over. Tevin Millen's questionable with a calf injury. He's probably going to play, but he's not fully healthy. Then you have Xavier Legette is out and Jatavian Sanders is out. Both of those 2 players had 50+% of their targets come within 10 yards or behind the line of scrimmage. So these guys are getting those dump off passes. And Chuba Hubbard, that's where he works in the receiving game. He works often in the flat areas of the field, often in that, short to intermediate range as a dump off option. And looking at those 2 guys being out with Sanders and Legette and looking now at the receiving opportunity that Hubbard will get, it's going to be a lot more than 2.5 receptions and 17.5 yards. We've seen him consistently evolve in the receiving game already this year, beating 2.5 receptions in 2 of 3 games, beating 17.5 in 2 of 3 games. I think with all these receivers out, you have to play Hubbard in the receiving game. He's a fantastic bet there.
Yeah, give me. I love your analysis there. Give me either 9.5 longest reception for Travion Henderson. I think that's very doable against a defense that hemorrhages production to the running back position. And give me his over 11.5 longest rush for Travion Henderson. I don't anticipate that he's going to be the bell cow this week, but I do anticipate that when he is going to touch the ball, he's going to be incredibly efficient in a very plus matchup.
I'm mad at the Henderson longest rush because a couple weeks ago I bet it, and it was this past week where I was projecting a breakout week for him, and then Gibson fumbled, Stevenson fumbled, and Henderson had a ton of carries, and I was just watching because I had not a lot of money, but a lot of money for me, because I only bet a little bit, but I had a little bit of money on Henderson's longest rush, and I just kept watching him run straight in the back of the offensive line. I was so mad. I was so mad. I was like, dude, I know you're more explosive than this. Hit a freaking run.
So I make weird calls from time to time. Last week, my weird call was Ramondre Stevenson is going to find a way to fumble away the job and let Travion Henderson take the lead. And this is a bounce back game for the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. And I said that, and it happened. And they still gave him the opportunity. And then I think what hurt me the most was I didn't even think Gibson was a possibility right after they benched Ramondre. I did not think that was a possibility.
And then he fumbled too. Dude.
That was like a stab in the heart, a slap in the face. Like, why am I a Patriots fan anymore? I'm done. I'm done being a Patriots fan, honestly. Hussein says he's going with CJ Stroud. Come on, baby. Let's go. Baby. Come on, Stroud. Let's go. Hutch is probably right though. Let's get after it, baby. Thanks for the help, and I wish you guys luck this week. Been having shit season in my home league, 0-3. I need a miracle to win this. God bless, man.
Never give up, brother. Never give up.
Joel Singh says, "Who do I flex, BTJ or Hall?" Hall is definitely the safer floor play here. If you want the ceiling and you need the ceiling, I would lean BTJ, but nevertheless, I think unanimously it's Breece Hall just because you want to start your running backs against Miami.
Yep.
Yeah. JRS says, would we consider guys like Persall or Pollard over Tet? I would consider Persall simply for the fact that Tet is banged up and Christian Gonzalez is healthy, but Tet out of all of them has the best matchup on paper.
Yeah, especially if you're in a half PPR PPR format, Ted's gonna get a boatload of targets. He's
Hell yeah.
continued to every single week, and that reception total is just gonna give you a baseline of points. And Pearsall, while he's been very good, having back-to-back 100 or 200-yard games so far this year, he's not like crazy up there in terms of receptions. We've seen 4 for 117 and like 4 for 105, I think, in his 2 games with 100 yards. He's not like a crazy big receptions guy, but McMillan is a guy that can get you like 8 receptions in a single week. Like we could see that from him. Pearsall's not getting that kind of crazy volume. It's just he's making big plays.
Absolutely. Now, going back to this game, we always try to leave people with like a good pay up option for DFS and a good tertiary option. So do you like anybody for DFS purposes in this game between the Carolina Panthers and the New England Patriots?
Yeah, I mean, I think Drake May, man, he continues to look more fantastic every single week. And the Panthers, well, they have a couple players that threaten you on defense. They aren't that threatening of a defense. And May, you got the rushing volume, you got the upside as a passer. And this receiving corps looks all right. You have Hunter Henry producing consistently. You have Stephon Diggs coming in for some serious underneath work. And Kayshon Boutte has looked pretty fun so far this year with some deep plays. And we know Drake May is a good rusher. He's been great. I think he's a great play this week as well. And then I like Hubbard for the receiving upside as well, depending on how cheap you can get him.
He's not very cheap.
Yeah, now, I don't think so. I didn't think so.
So 2 questions based off of what you just said. Would you consider Tommy Tremble as a tertiary option because it is a plus matchup for tight ends against the New England Patriots?
Yeah,
is Tommy Tremble even the guy?
Jatavian Sanders is out. Tommy Tremble would be the next man up. I mean, you're hoping and praying for a touchdown, but it's absolutely possible. We saw a few of those games where Tommy Tremble was able to sneak in the red zone last year. I think you can absolutely see that this week against the Patriots with Jatavian Sanders out.
Okay, last question. You do know that the Carolina Panthers give up the least production to opposing quarterbacks at just over 9 points per game to opposing quarterbacks for fantasy football. Do you think that is a sign of things to come, or do you think that that's an anomaly that's going to break this week?
I don't think that great of a defense. And one thing I would say is that Michael Penix's game probably did a lot of damage to that points per game mark. Michael Penix was terrible. I wonder what it is in the first 2 weeks for Carolina. I think they're definitely still there because Carolina sucked and you had a lot of teams just running the ball on them. But I would be interested to see what they were in the first 2 weeks. I'm actually trying to look at it right now.
Copy. I'll just catch up with the chat. Shout out to our guy PPR Fantasy Tips over on X. He says, got Hutch on, love it. Hey, Tips, if PPR Fantasy Tips, we would love to chop it up with you, buddy. You know, you got an open invite here. Just give me the word and I'll send you the StreamYard link, get you on here, and we'll just have like a full-blown discussion because we still got 13 games to break down. JR5 says, love it. Thanks, guys. Gonzalez is scary. Gonzalez is terrifying. I think he makes this pass defense way better. Shout out to my guy, Who Hames. You also know that you have an open invite. Let me know if you want the link. He says, Tremble is the guy. I'm taking a lot of BDE, New England pass D, real bad. But I think Gonzalez rights the ship. So did you get the answer from the research that you were doing there?
I did. It was definitely a little skewed by that one game, but Carolina is still like more above average in terms of defense against quarterback, in terms of fantasy points allowed from what I see the first 2 weeks. But to me, May doesn't matter the matchup. I think he's a great quarterback. I'm still happy to play him.
Copy. Note to self, this overlay is way too large. We got the Cleveland Browns. They are 10-point favorites. The 10-point underdogs coming into Detroit. The over-under is 44.5. So what do you like about this game? What do you dislike about this game? I'm going to go out and say I alluded to this earlier, but if you're one of the 702 people who are watching and you weren't with us earlier, I love Jameson Williams because when you look at the Cleveland Browns defense, they play man defense at the highest rate in the NFL at 49%. And then when you look at EPA against man defense, Jameson Williams has 23, by far and away the most, even though it's a small sample size. I love Jameson Williams in this matchup. He's definitely somebody I'm targeting a lot in DFS options. Other than that, is there anybody else that you like here in this game that you think is a smash?
I mean, that was my big one. That was my big one for the exact same reasons you said. The man coverage is unbelievable for Jameson Williams. He should be able to burn somebody downfield. And I think the anytime touchdown bet, the longest reception bet are both great plays for JMO. But another thing I look at too, Montgomery, I think he's a very benchable option this week. And I don't know what his rushing lines are. I didn't get to look at them.
I got it right here. So
What are they?
Montgomery's rushing lines
Probably
is
around the 40 to 50 range.
46.5 rushing yards for Montgomery, 12.5 longest rush, and also for GMO, it's 42.5 receiving yards, 21.5 longest reception.
Yeah, I'm smashing the overs on those two. But the Monty one, 46.5 is a little low. I think I would hesitate taking the under there. But I just think in fantasy you want to bench him. Like like we mentioned earlier in the show, the Browns defense is absolutely shut down to running backs. Doesn't matter who they're playing. And you can't bench Gibbs. Gibbs is just an unbenchable kind of asset. But Montgomery's the one where doesn't get as much volume in the receiving game, is a little bit of the 1B in this offense, the 2 in this offense. And as a result, you can bench him in fantasy on a weekly basis if you see the matchup is not ideal. And this is not one of those matchups you want to start him.
Love it. Love it. May or Jones? It's Drake May.
Yes.
Yeah. Jose Rodriguez also asks London, Terrell McMillan, Ao Manor, Golden, pick one. It's London.
Yes, I'm with you.
Okay. Hey there. What's up, Edison Sokoli?
What up?
Is that one of your peoples?
I mean, I don't know. I just know I know Edison is there.
Well, what's up, Edison?
What's up?
Guys, if you're watching us on X, one of the 700 plus people watching us on X, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Head over to the Big Draft Energy YouTube channel. We will prioritize getting the answer. And last time I checked, we were 5 subscribers away from 2K. We'll check again shortly, but help make a guy's dream come true. This is an interesting one. How about Strange or Tongues? I feel like with Tongues, the upside for him is higher with Brock Purdy at the helm because Brock Purdy likes to target the tight end a little bit more. And where it's advantageous there is the Jacksonville Jaguars are tied for 8th most receptions to opposing tight ends on a per game basis at 5, and they're also the 49ers, on the other hand, they allow the 8th most targets to tight ends at 8 per game, tied for 8th in receptions to tight ends with the Jacksonville Jaguars at 5 per game, and they allow 0.67 touchdowns to tight ends, which is above average. So I would say I would give the lead to Tongues because he has more of a plus to Strange because he has more of a plus matchup.
Yeah, no, I'm with you fully there. Nothing needed.
You're like, that's way too much research on Brenton Strange.
Yeah. This is what fantasy football does to a man.
Yeah. Edison School says, need help on flex. I have Travion and Stevenson, who to bench and who to put in. I'm putting in Stevenson. In. I know it hurts. It hurts. Here's the thing: no matter who we say to put in, you're going to be wrong. I apologize.
Yeah, exactly. Whoever you do put in, you are wrong. It's guaranteed. Because if you put in Stevenson, it's Henderson breakout week, 100%.
This has nothing to do with who's a better player. This has nothing to do with who's a more explosive player. This has nothing to do with who has a better matchup because it's the same freaking matchup. This has everything to do with a stupid, stubborn coach who wants to give Ramondre Stevenson a little bit more opportunity to right the ship that he messed up. This is a fantastic matchup for both running backs. It's one of the most advantageous matchups on the week across all positions. You want to play one of them. So flip a coin. Good luck. Hopefully both of them smash. Also, Golden, Diggs, Fannin, Addison on bench. Golden, put Golden in your lineup, please. Yep. I think we both agree there. All right, next game.
Harold Fann's the GOAT, though. I love Harold.
I love Harold.
I love him. He was my favorite, man. I feel so vindicated by him having a really good start to the year. He was my guy coming out, man.
I love that. All right, next game, we got the Los Angeles Chargers. They're 6.5-point favorites coming into New York against the New York Football Giants. The over-under is 43.5. And unless you've been living under a rock, Jackson Dart is getting his first start. Cam Scatterbo should be getting a heck of a lot of volume, especially with Tyrone Tracy out. If we see Singletary get double-figure touches, we are riding. We are riding big time, all right? So with that being said, what do you like about this game? What do you dislike about this game? A lot of people are saying this is the trap game of the week. That
really?
a lot of people are saying it.
I mean, look, I honestly I like Giants at +6.5. As much as I just like reacted that way to saying this was a trap game, I like the Giants at +6.5 here. I think they keep themselves in this game. Jackson Dart, as a rookie, I mentioned it earlier in the game. Sometimes we see rookies or these veterans come in for their first start, and defense just have no idea what to do with you. Especially with Jackson Dart, how mobile he is. He is not afraid to run the football, and he's not afraid to drop a shoulder
Yep.
into a DB or a backer. Like he's not afraid of anybody. He
Yeah,
runs like a
unless it's
Josh Allen.
Derwin James. If he tries to drop his shoulder on
Oh, he's
Derwin
in
James
trouble.
will deliver
He's
him
in
to the
he's in
ER or the
trouble.
Lord. Yeah,
Yeah,
he
yeah.
will.
You gotta
Yeah,
say some prayers if Jackson starts
yeah.
going up to Derwin James. But the thing is, you just don't know how to play this guy. Like he could do anything, and he has weapons. You have Wando Robinson, Theo Johnson, and Malik Neighbors, and you also have Cam Scatterboot out of the receiving game, who's looked like a monster so far this year. And I think he'll have a great game in this week. But I think the Giants keep themselves in this one. I think Dart brings an energy to his offense and brings an energy to this team that keeps them in this game. And I think that +6.5 is a bit too far of a line. I think they stay at least within a couple points of this one.
What are your projections for Malik Neighbors? Is he worth a pay up option? And I love this question here. Scott says, Disco, did you just say tributary? No, I said tertiary. Tertiary is just another word for sleeper.
Yeah, I think. Ooh, I mean, what's his price? He's probably like wide receiver 6 or 7
He's up
on
there.
DraftKings right now.
Oh man, I'm
Yeah.
too old for this, man. Stop with the
No, this is
6'7".
great. This is great. This is
Do
great.
forget about his price. What are your projections for him?
Yeah, I mean, I think he gets a boatload of targets. You see a young quarterback coming in, you're going to target your best players. That simple. I think Malik Neighbors sees at least 8 to 10 targets this week, and I think we're at a really high chance for a touchdown in the red zone. You're going to look for your trusted guy. It's Malik Neighbors. I think he's going to be a wide receiver 1 on the week, which means I think that wherever his price is, he's probably worth taking a stab at in your lineup. The Chargers defense has shown some signs of weakness at all areas this year.
Edison Sokoli says, "You think putting both New England backs can hurt?" Here's the thing.
Yes.
I think it gives you a fantastic floor,
Mm-hmm.
but it also limits your ceiling. So I don't think this is one of the matchups where you're going to see both Tyler Algier and Bijan Robinson score 30 fantasy points each, like we've seen historically, like I was betting on in my DFS lineups last week. I wouldn't recommend it. I would say you have to pick one, flip a coin. Can we get one Scatabo versus Derwin collision? It's going to happen the first play. I promise you.
Probably will, yeah. Saba's gonna be looking for him.
Scatabo is going to go out of his way to get that collision because Scatabo is a bonehead, and I like that about him, and I didn't know he was a dog like that. So
He's a
my bad on
dog,
my
man.
Scotty.
He's good.
All right, New Orleans, they are, it's actually up now. It's 16.5-point underdogs. The Saints are 16.5-point underdogs against the Buffalo Bills. And this is one of the higher implied point totals on the week. And I believe Buffalo can put up all 48 points in the over-under alone, single-handedly, in the first quarter. So with that being said, do we feel like the game script is going to get too out of hand where none of the Buffalo Bills receiving options are viable and Josh Allen kind of cancels himself out as like a legitimate pay-up option in DFS? Or do we see a week where it's going to be a little bit more competitive than we thought it would be? Like we saw the Dolphins put up significant production and make it a very close game down to the wire where Tua threw the ball away. Tua turned the ball over through a
That
pick.
was really bad.
Yeah, this is very, very bad. So with that being said, how do you feel like this game is going to play out? Do you think this is going to be a blowout for 2 weeks in a row where Buffalo doesn't do it?
It's hard to imagine this game not being at least like a 2 to 3 score game. That's really hard to not see. That Buffalo's way too good right now, man. And the Saints are just suck. They're just terrible. They're a dumpster fire of an offense right now. Spencer Rattler is not good enough for this team. You know, watch out for Tyler Shuck, man. He might get in at some point if we see another blowout against the Buffalo Bills. What do you got there? Oh, we got 2,000, don't we?
No, we're at 1,999. We are literally
Woo!
one subscriber away.
One subscriber away.
We need one more subscriber to hit 2,000 subscribers. 19 subscribers today. You guys are absolutely amazing. Thank you so much.
Let's
If you're
go.
one of the 722 people watching on X, please come over to the Big Draft Energy YouTube channel, smash a like, subscribe, and go subscribe to Hutch in the Clutch and subscribe to HutchB_FF on X as well. That's the right one, right? Or is it Hutchinson B?
Hutchinson B_FF. You got it.
Yeah,
You good?
yeah, please. Thank you. So I'm going to say I like Khalil Shakir in this matchup. James Cook is my RB2 on the week. I think
Fair enough, yeah.
Kincaid's viable. Jawan Johnson has to be in play. Chris Olave has to be in play.
For sure.
And then
Yeah.
last but not least, Khalil Shakir is one of my favorite like mid-tier options where you don't have to pay up to get production. He's got one of the safest floors in fantasy, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, looking at his role, it's secure in this offense. On a weekly basis, it's just tough. This receiving core is so confusing and jumbled all over the place. We've seen Josh Palmer get involved. We've
Yeah,
seen Coleman get involved. Dalton Cade's actually been really solid in this
absolutely.
offense at the tight end position. He's continuously gotten targets and been very involved in the red zone with 2 touchdowns so far this year already. But this receiving core is jumbled, and the problem is if you see the Buffalo Bills get up really early, they're not afraid to run the football and slow the game
Yeah,
down and not throw a ton. And as a result, we could see the receiving room disappoint. But I do like the Shakir play. New Orleans is not great against the slot, and I think you can see a lot of Shakir points through the slot.
absolutely. Absolutely. All right. The Doe says pick 2, Chuba, Pickens, Jalen Warren, Pittman. I'm going Pittman or I'm going Chuba.
Uh I like Warren. I really like Warren. The
Even
PPR
with a
volume.
bum knee.
What's that?
Even with a bum knee.
The knee injury definitely makes it more questionable. If he was fully healthy, I would like immediately pick Warren. But with the bum knee, I think that's a good point. I think I would go with you at Chuba and Pittman as well. But I love Warren, man. I've loved seeing what he's done this year.
Now, a lot of people like George Pickens for the fact that there's going to be volume galore. Do we feel like with the 2 interior offensive linemen being out and the 2 outside tackles not being the best against 2 fantastic bookends and Rashawn Gary and Micah Parsons, that Dak is going to be able to get rid of the ball? And like we've also heard based off of the coach speak index that George Pickens is going to continue to play the George Pickens role. Nobody's filling that CeeDee Lamb role where they're like, I would like George Pickens if he does get into the CeeDee Lamb role where he gets involved in, the shorter to intermediate routes. But right now he's just a deep ball or bust kind of guy.
Yeah, it is.
He's all ceiling, no floor. I understand we like the
Yeah.
idea conceptually of volume, but missing 2 interior offensive linemen with 2 questionable offensive linemen as the tackles, and this is where my insight comes from. I was a high level offensive tackle. All my insight always starts with offensive line first. And Rashawn Gary and Micah Parsons. I don't think George Pickens' game is going to be applicable unless he starts getting involved in the short and intermediate route game. He says, love the dialogue. You guys keep up the great work. Hutch, you're welcome to come back anytime. Guys, W Hutch, man.
Sure.
Scared of Pickens this week. Scared money don't make no money, though. Pickens definitely has a very, 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 very like high ceiling, but his floor is terrifying.
Yeah, the thing that worries me most with Pickens is like what you're saying with the offensive line. If you have no offensive line and you have a really non-mobile quarterback in Dak Prescott who can't really move a ton in the pocket, he's had a lot of injuries in his career. He's a little older now. The deep routes are not going to develop. You just don't have time for Pickens to get downfield and get open enough to chuck those big plays. You see it all the time where a quarterback's looking downfield and they have a defender in their face. They can't look there anymore. Like you just have to dump off the football. And we saw a ton of times last week with Dak where he was oh my gosh, who did the Cowboys play? Chicago. They played Chicago last week. There were a ton of times where Chicago faked a blitz.
Yeah.
Like they would send all the guys on the line. They had so many plays, but they sent all the guys on the line and then sent 4 or 5. They wouldn't really blitz at all. And Dak would immediately dump off to Jake Ferguson. There were so many plays where if there was a blitz or not, Dak was just dumping off the football. He is
He
not
was playing
afraid.
scared.
He was playing scared football. Exactly. Yeah. And it's a big part of the reason why they lost that game is they weren't pushing the ball downfield on offense, and Caleb Williams and the Bears just ran away with it.
That's fantastic insight. I'm so glad that you talked about that and brought that up because I didn't even consider it. That's fantastic insight. Great analysis, buddy.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you. But yeah, looking at Pickens, that's one thing that scares me. Is Dak's not afraid to dump off, and that offensive line is not going to allow those deep routes to develop.
I love that. I love that. That is sharp stuff right there, man. That's why you guys subscribe to Hutch in the Clutch on YouTube. That's why you guys follow him on X and all other socials. The Frog says, I'm starting Neighbors and Igbuka. My flex spot is open. Need one. Golden, Tet, Persal, JMO, or Handy. It's JMO or Golden for me. What about you?
Yeah, I'm there as well. I think I'd play JMO just because he's the more proven wide receiver. We know he's a great wide receiver. We haven't seen the big games out of Golden yet. It's only his 4th NFL game. I think I think JMO is the more proven asset, and we have similar upsides for both of big play touchdowns.
Because even though it's the best matchup in football for Matthew Golden, something we haven't really talked upon is like, what if this game gets out of hand early with 2 pick sixes or 2 turnovers and a couple punches? Like, we're not going to have to see Jordan Love air it out. We're just going to see a couple touchdowns from Josh Jacobs and then the backup take over. And, they play 3 yards in a cloud of dust football for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
The game script just completely gets ruined. This game could really, really, really go out of hand. It's not because Lamb's out. It's because Tyler Booker and BB are both out, the two of their interior offensive linemen who are very integral to everything that they do offensively. Fields or Indiana Jones? It's Justin Fields for me. I believe it was Justin Fields for you as well.
For sure, yeah.
Okay. Next game we got. I love this game for so many reasons.
One, man.
Yeah. Sorry for blocking your face with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers flag there.
Up here.
Note to self: make these overlays a little bit smaller moving forward, but they are very clean. They're very clean.
Nice,
It's the first
yeah.
time trying them and rolling them out, and they look fantastic. So we got the Philadelphia Eagles coming off of a astronomical comeback victory against the Los Angeles Rams in such a wild fashion victory. I loved it. Philadelphia's 3.5-point favorites coming into Tampa Bay. The over-under is 44. I'd like to see that a little bit higher, but the reason why it's not higher is because Chris Godwin's coming back from injury, and so he's going to be limited, and Mike Evans is out with injury. And who would have predicted that Mike Evans would miss time with a soft tissue issue?
Yeah,
you
man.
should not draft Mike Evans. Who said that you shouldn't draft Mike Evans? This guy.
I remember that
when injury, but when you literally project the injury and how much time he's going to miss on, it's a victory lap. I'm taking it. So what do you like about this game? Do you like the spread? Do you like any team for a money line? Do you like the over or under?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the one thing I'd say is I like Jalen Hurts' passing prop, man. He's barely at 180 passing yards right now, and I think it's going to hit the over. I think we're going to see the momentum from last week in that second half be carried into this week. There's no, I'm an Eagles fan. Obviously, the Eagles have done some stupider things, but there is simply no way that after what you saw in the second half of that last game against the Rams with Brown and Smith cooking for you and Hurts doing well in the passing game, you don't try to carry that into your next game, because so far in this season, this Eagles offense has been so flat until that second half, and we saw some serious life. I think they carry into this week. I think we see a higher volume passing game, and I think as a result, we see Hurts crush 180 yards. And we know Hurts can make big plays. We know Smith and Brown after the catch are dangerous weapons. Like, these guys can make plays, and you have Goddard back as well. Saquon in the receiving game has been involved. Like, I think 180 is really low for Hurts. I would take the over there. That's where his line was earlier in the week. It was about
his line right now is at 191.5 passing yards.
191.5. Yeah, it's moved up then. Yeah, because I remember it being like 181.5 earlier this week. I'm still taking the over. I think he gets to 200 this week. But then looking otherwise at this game too, Emeka Egbuka might catch 10 balls. Like, he's going to be so involved. Like, he's going to be the focal point of this offense with Evan out, with Godwin still not healthy yet, with a lot of question marks in this receiving room. It's going to be a Emeka Egbuka show. And I also like your call on Cade Otton. I think that's a fantastic call. When Godwin and Evans were out last year, Cade Otton had a monstrous stretch for fantasy purposes.
Absolutely.
He was a really good tight end. So I think that with these guys hurt, we could see Cade Otton get pretty involved pretty quickly.
Yeah, Cade Otton's one of my most owned players in DFS. This is not a plus matchup whatsoever, but it's based off of the historical data that you alluded to earlier. Cade Otton does nuke. Now, I will say this. My favorite prop on the entire week happens to be in this game, and it's Saquon Barkley over 16.5 receiving yards, and I'll tell you exactly.
Oh, that's such a – I didn't see that. That's such a smash.
I'll tell you exactly why. Historically, when you look at Tampa Bay and Todd Bowles, TB, coincidence? I think not. But Todd Bowles and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense historically gives up a lot of receiving upside to wide receivers because they always try to play 3 to 4 deep, which leaves the flats wide open.
You mean
how advantageous is it? Sorry, to running backs. Yeah. How advantageous is it this week for running backs? They give up the 6th most receptions, 5, but the 2nd most receiving yards at 71.33. So his longest reception, which was available on drafters up until yesterday, was at 9.5 longest. I may have over 62 bets with over 9.5. We do a lot. We do a lot.
We do a lot of betting.
I'm not saying I'm a degenerate, because like we have a lot of we make sure that's well within our budget We make sure it's affordable.
Oh
And
yeah,
we
no,
don't, we
yeah,
don't
no,
lose.
never bet more than you lose, of course.
Yeah. No, it's just a winning formula we got here. It's always
Yeah.
3 to 5% of our bankroll. We
62,
have a fantastic
62 just shocked me for a second. I don't mean to laugh. 62 just shocked me for a second because I know for me, I'm like a couple bets, but like that was a
I
shocking
bet on
number.
1,000 props a week.
Wow. All right.
Yeah. I'm not a degenerate. This is my retirement plan. And once again, it's 3 to 5% of my bankroll. And we've been building
Let's
this
go.
bankroll for 8 years. B831 says, chat trade Devontae Adams for Jawan Johnson. Why chat? All right, chat. What do you guys think? Devontae Adams for
Chat answer
Jawan
as well.
Johnson and Jacoby Myers and Kittle. Oh, shit. Here's the thing.
That 3 for 1's
Who's your current
nasty.
tight end? B831. I need to know who your current tight end is. Juan Pena Jr. Good to see you, Juan. I love your name. You sound like a baseball hitter ready to go to bat. I don't watch baseball, so don't make me talk about more baseball linguistics that I don't know nothing about. He says, need 3, wide receiver 1, 2, and 3. A flex spot, Quentin Johnson, Hollywood, Devontae Adams, Debo Samuel,
Jordan Addison,
Jordan Addison,
Trey
Tucker,
Tucker.
Tyquan Thornton, Nick Chubb, Travion Henderson, Josh Jacobs, Jawan Taylor are my starters. Holy crap.
Oh, Jonathan Taylor are the starters.
Jonathan Taylor. Okay. Tight ends, Johnson, Kittle. IR.
Okay.
Need 3 spots. Wide receiver 1, 2, and 3. And
a flex spot.
Quinn Johnston, Devontae Adams. So Devontae Adams unanimously in. Quinn Johnston unanimously in.
Debo Samuel. Debo Samuel is my third.
Debo Samuel unanimously in. All right. Flex spot between Hollywood, Addison, or Tucker. I'm giving or Tyquan Thornton or Nick Chubb. I'm giving the lean to Jordan Addison here.
Oh, I really
you have a fantastic floor with all those guys. It's okay to have one guy who makes the ceiling a little bit higher. I feel like he has the highest ceiling.
He does have the highest ceiling.
That's the only reason, because of how high his ceiling is.
Yeah, but I could legit see him going like 2 targets, 0 receptions next week.
Yeah,
like he doesn't
very
like
possible.
It's so possible. The travel game, him coming back from suspension, first week in, new quarterback, like they're like he could get 0 targets. Like he could have 0 catches next week. But the upside for him is huge because we know he's a touchdown guy, back-to-back seasons with double-digit touchdowns. And when you look as well at his ability to stretch the field, he can make some monsters plays downfield. And as well, when you look at how much coverage and attention Justin Jefferson gets, how much he will get in this game, you're gonna see a lot for Addison. I also just speaking on that game, I didn't get to mention earlier. I can't wait to see Justin Jefferson and Jalen Ramsey face off. Ramsey's had a really good start to the season in Pittsburgh, and Jefferson's an elite wide receiver. And I know they had a matchup a while back when Ramsey was on the Rams, and that was a fun one to watch. I cannot wait to see that again.
I will be paying attention to that now.
Yes, sir.
Full PPR flex. Who'd you start, Chris Rodriguez or Luther Burden this week?
Oh, wow.
Do you have other options? Shh. Go ahead.
Pass. No, I think you got to start. The ceiling's definitely Burden. I think Rodriguez might give you a safe carry floor, might get in the end zone, but I think Burden has way too much upside downfield. And look, because the thing is, he had 3 targets, 3 catches. A lot of people are see that. It's like, oh, he only had 3 catches. But like the way he flashed, the Bears might say, hey, you did a lot for us with those few catches. Let's get you more involved. Like this is a rookie who's slowly acclimated and building upon himself. I think we could see more involvement in the future if this is what he gave the Bears with his limited opportunities.
Pushback. Okay.
Go for it.
Just a slight pushback with Luther Burden. And I'm going to answer this question completely differently because, like, for integrity purposes, I cannot advise either one of them just based off of.
No, I don't think either of them are great, but
I don't know. I can't advise either one of them. Maybe the Luther Burden production was based off of the fact that they were facing the Dallas Cowboys, and I'm not chasing last week.
It's true. The Dallas Cowboys matchup probably helped him a lot, but yeah. I just think he's a good player. Like I loved him coming out of college. I've loved his film so far this year. I think on his limited opportunities, he's looked great. And that doesn't matchup or not. I think he looks great, and I think hopefully that he continues to be more involved this year. It's Chris Rodriguez, is just a guy, and you're hoping that he gets a goal line carry. That is only reason you would start Chris Rodriguez. So
he added 2 players to the list: Josh Downs and Randy Godson. It's Josh Downs.
Yeah, I'd play Josh Downs over all those options. Yeah,
100%. Next time, start with Josh Downs.
Yes,
you had Hutch sweating that one out. In my flex, do I start McMillan, who's listed as questionable, or Judkins? I feel like McMillan is going to play. I think he's your ceiling play. I think Judkins is your floor play, whatever you feel like you need, Nick. And thank you so much for tuning into the channel. Subscribe. Whatever you feel like you need, just say you're trailing, say you're playing against Trey McBride, Marvin Harrison Jr., or even AJ Barner.
Trey McBride didn't have a good game. If you play against Trey McBride, you're doing fine.
Didn't Trey McBride put up like 12 fantasy points?
No, I think he had like six or 7.
PPR?
I think so. Yeah, I didn't think he had a big game last. Or actually, no, maybe late in the game he was able to get a couple more catches. But what did he have? I thought he had like 7.
I know he had 7 receptions, so there's no way it's
7 receptions.
Yeah. I'm pulling it up. I'm pulling it up right now.
You're pulling it up right now?
Yeah. The PPR format. Give me a sec. My teams. Trey. All right.
Oh, yeah, I see 7 receptions. Man, okay, yeah, 52. That's 12 points.
12.20 fantasy points PPR production. I know this because I have 750 basketball lineups that I'm sweating, and he is one of my most owned players.
Yeah,
just very, very in on him.
Oh, why did I think 7 point? I must have thought of a different player. But yeah,
you must have thought of like standard or half PPR. That would make sense.
Yeah, if it was half PPR, he gets 7.8.
So I'm going to say Judkins for me, but it's very close. Just depends on what you need here, Nick. My tight end is Fannin. Heard he loves Fannin. Okay,
awesome, man.
Yeah. Next game, I don't even want to talk about this game genuinely, but we will talk about it because it's a football game. And we got to give you guys advice, right? This is ugly. We got the Tennessee Titans in a 0-3 showdown of the AFC South. And the AFC South is where things are going south. They are 7-point dogs versus the Houston Texans. The over-under is 39.5. I'm going to go and say this. This is a bounce-back game for C.J. Stroud and Nico Collins, even though I said the same thing last week against Jacksonville. But Jacksonville's defense was a lot better than I thought it would be. So I'll give credit where credit is due. It is a plus matchup on the ground for the Houston Texans running backs, but the issue with the Houston Texans running backs is I don't believe in them. I'm willing to sprinkle in Woody Marks in DFS, but I'm not willing to advise starting any of them, despite Tennessee giving up the most rushing touchdowns to opposing running backs. It's kind of one of those fickle things where it's a terrible offensive line for the Houston Texans, a terrible run game, an inefficient run game. Nick Chubb's not getting 12 to 13, more than 12 to 13 touches per game. So the volume isn't there. So where are you at with Nick Chubb, Woody Marks? Where are you at with this game? Is there anything that you like about this game?
I'll be honest, man. I would wonder what Tennessee's money line is on this one. I know you think this is a bounce back for Nico and Stroud. With a 7-point dogs, I think Tennessee's money line or Tennessee's 7-point to cover the spread. I don't think it's a bad play. We've seen Cam Ward grow over the last few weeks and become a better and better quarterback every week. We've seen the LK Minar and Cam Ward stack develop over the last few weeks, become a very threatening piece for not only for fantasy, but also for 2000. There we go. Let's go, man.
Thank you. 2003 subs. Thank you guys so much from the bottom of my heart for making this happen. Sorry, you were cooking. Please keep cooking.
No, you're good, man. I just think we've seen Cam Ward grow so much, and in this matchup with Houston, where we have a couple injuries on the Houston side of defense with some key players, and with C.J. Stroud in this offense simply looking so bad. Because the thing is, it's not like if C.J. Stroud was in his rookie season, I'd be like, okay, well, there's still opportunity for growth. Like, come on, man, this is year 2. We know who C.J. Stroud is. That he's just playing poor football.
Year 3, and the money line.
Sorry, you're right. Year 3. Duh. He's just playing poor football right now, and yeah. I think Ward is going to have a potential like big game here, and I think that Tennessee has a real shot to win this game. I take them on the 7-point dogs line, and I think that their money line is not a bad play right now either.
Plus 310 on the money line.
Yeah, I don't hate that at all.
Juice. That's a lot of juice there, right there.
Yes, that's juiced.
Yeah, I love that.
I also like the under 39.5. I think this could be like a 13-9 game. Like I really do. I think this could be a very low scoring game. Both these offenses have struggled so far a lot, and both defenses have had some really solid flashes overall. Like Houston's, you want to hear a fun stat about Houston's offense so far this year? Disco.
Yeah.
So Sam Darnold, Carson Wentz, Marcus Mariota, and Daniel Jones. Right. Those 4 guys with their offenses in week 3 scored more than 40 points. The Houston Texans so far this year on the season through 3 weeks have 38 total points on offense. That's what we're looking at right now. Those 4 quarterbacks of those teams 2 of them in their first games with the team. 40 each scored 40 points, and we have Houston scoring 38 points total on the season.
Yikes. Okay, so
That's so
my
bad,
favorite lock,
man.
it's so bad, and that's why I'm not watching it. That's why I hate this. But my favorite lock, and it's a lock pretty much every week, and I just like betting it, is Nico Collins over 23.5 longest reception. And
Yeah,
once again,
no,
guys, we're giving you a lot of juicy bets, a lot of juicy props. If you guys want to tail us, tail at your own risk. Be an adult. Do not gamble more than you can afford to gamble.
100%, man.
Only gamble what you're willing to lose. And if you guys want to tail us, your first bet is on the house, on me. Sign up on Drafters Fantasy using promo code DISCO to double your first deposit, dollar for dollar, up to $100. I'm just
Let's go.
like I'm out of it. We just hit 2,003 subscribers. God is so good,
Go.
man. God is so good.
Let's
Who
go.
says you must have stopped paying attention to the horrible Thursday night football. It wasn't horrible. It was just weird.
It was a
weird.
really weird game. Yeah, Trey McBride started off a little slower in that game. I did go Ronnie, you know Ronnie Evans, right?
Yes.
Ronnie Evans texted me at halftime. It was like, come play Fortnite. And I was like, okay, fine. So I played Fortnite, but I did look back at the game and try to review what had happened. I think I saw a game log for half PPR format, and it ended up being like more like 7 points instead of like 12. And I think that's why I thought McBride had a bad game.
So great story about Ronnie. He and I were talking 2 years ago prior to me going to the expo 2 years ago. And like we were in a group chat together. We had a lot of back and forths. Like we got to know each other, right? Get to the expo. This guy comes up to me during the poker tournament at the expo 2 years ago, and he gives me a hug. And then he looks at my name tag. So he didn't know who I was. He gave me the biggest hug and embrace. And then he looked at me and said, "Oh, man. Disco, Big Draft Energy. What's up, man?" He just gave me a hug for the sake of giving me a hug.
He's that kind of guy, man. I love him. I love Ronnie.
Man.
Shout out to him,
one of my favorite stories.
He's a cool guy.
Pick one: Chase Brown, Golden, or Pittman from B Growing Stuff. All right. The FBI is on their way to your house, sir, right now. Okay, so if you need the floor, it's Pittman. If you need the ceiling, it's Golden. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm with you there. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. What kind of stuff you growing there, bud? All right. Hold on. I'm getting a message live on YouTube. Come ask there, please. Sorry, our Patreon. I always got to prioritize talking to our Patreon. Next game, we got the Washington Commanders. They're 2-point underdogs without Jaden Daniels and Terry McLaurin this week. They are visiting the Atlanta Falcons, coming off of a catastrophic loss, 30-0 loss to the Carolina Panthers. The over-under is 43.5. What do you like in this game? I talked about this earlier, but if there's new people tuning in, I would love to lead with Kyle Pitts' longest reception is one of my favorite locks on the week. And the reason why it's one of my favorite locks on the week, right now it's at 16.5. All right. So the reason why it's one of my favorite locks on the week, hold on, we got to scroll up to my notes here. The Commanders secondary allows the 5th most receiving yards to tight ends at 71, despite only allowing the 17th most receptions at 4.67. So we don't love the volume. We love the explosion. This translates to the most yards perception to opposing tight ends at 15.21 yards, which is well within Kyle Pitt's wheelhouse. I love writing these notes that way. I get to keep it in my mind, and I get to just share it with you guys right there. Kyle Pitts over 16.5 longest reception. I also think he's a fantastic start. Also embedding on him to find the end zone for an anytime touchdown.
Yeah, I like it. And on the other side, I like Zach Ertz in this game too. The Falcons are not afraid to blitz. I mean, we saw it against the Vikings specifically, but there are so many times where they're not afraid to send extra DBs, extra backers to blitz. And when you have that kind of situation, you're leaving the flats wide open. You're leaving those dump off areas open. And that's where Zach Ertz gets involved. He's a safety blanket for this offense. And we saw Austin Eckler be a part of that this year, but now he's out. And all the safety blanket targets are going to go Zach Ertz's way. We saw when Austin Eckler got knocked out early, it was Zach Ertz who saw 8 targets, caught 6 passes in that game. Didn't do much with Mariota last week, but I think we could see a solid bounce back. So in fantasy, if you need a tight end, I don't mind Ertz, assuming he's playing. And then otherwise in this game, I mean, I like Mariota's rushing lines probably. He's probably at like the 25 to 30 range, maybe a little bit above 30.
Rushing yards is 32.5, longest rush is 12.5.
Yeah, I'm taking the over on 32.5. I mean, we saw 40 last week, and again, this defense likes to blitz. We're going to see Mariota under some pressure, and I would not be shocked at all if we see him scramble like 6 or 7 times this week and get some solid rushing yards.
So I'm going to say this. My pushback, and it's not necessarily pushback, but the splits without Jaden Daniels at the helm for Zach Ertz are very concerning.
Yeah, so far it's not been good. Yeah.
Zach Ertz is a sit for me this week.
Mhm.
Cry sick name says need to for my flexes Pollard, Chubb, Worthy, Waddle. I'm going to go with Worthy and Waddle. One gives
Yeah,
you a
play the
very good
receivers.
floor. One gives you a big play potential with Xavier Worthy. Hopefully, he doesn't get hurt on the first four snaps again. All right, let's go through these rapid fire because my dogs want to eat. My puppies are hungry. All right, we got the Indianapolis Colts 3.5-point dogs, 3-0 coming against the Los Angeles Rams. This game has the highest implied point total on the week at 49.5. What do you think about this game?
Yeah, this one's an interesting one. I mean, looking at the line for Donnie Mitchell's receiving yardage, he hasn't done much this year. 2 catches, he's had 4 catches, 41 yards total on the season in 3 games, and his line for receiving yards is 35.5.
29.5.
29.5. It's going down a little bit. I'm still taking the under. I know he can make big plays, but so far this year he hasn't hit 29.5. He's been at 20 and 21 in 2 games. He's barely involved, and like I just think that's way too high for a player of his caliber with what he's doing so far this year.
I would much rather take Josh Downs over 40.5, especially with
Yeah,
the
I would too.
vacancy
Yeah,
of Alec Pierce being out with under the concussion protocol.
and then
I
I
don't
like.
hate.
Oh, go ahead. What do you got?
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say Jonathan Taylor, 14.5 receiving yards is an absolute smash too. He's had 16 yards in every game, 2+ catches in every game, and like we said, this is gonna be a high scoring competitive, like DraftKings is saying, this is probably gonna be a higher scoring competitive game, and Taylor's gonna be involved in the receiving game for sure.
I love that. One of my favorite locks on a weekly basis is Stafford over its completions. Stafford over
Yeah,
21.5 completions seems free to me. And
yeah,
then Puka Nakua, 7.5 receptions is very enticing. I know it's a little rich.
that's
Uh,
7.5.
yeah, it's a little rich,
Man,
but hey, he's a monster, right?
he's
I
so
would say
good.
one of my favorite props is Tyler Warren over 4.5 receptions because that pass rush is so formidable and that offensive line has not really been tested thus far for the Indianapolis Colts. This is going to be the greatest test, and Daniel Jones
For
is
sure.
not shy of the check down equity,
Yeah,
especially in the Steichen offense where it is, profoundly surrounded and predicated on tight end production and tight end targets. It's one of the cooler offenses to look at if you're a fan of the tight end position. So I would say Warren is in a smash position, even though across the board it's not an advantageous matchup whatsoever. I
yeah.
just like Tyler Warren for the check down equity a lot. All right, more chats. Yo Astro GFX says pick 2 wide receiver flex BTJ Etienne Javante Persol. I'm gonna go. You go first.
Ooh, man, I think I'm gonna play. Gosh, this is tough. These are 4 really solid options. A lot of potential here. Do you have a gut call on this one?
Yeah,
What do you got?
BTJ and Persol.
Yeah, the question me. I think I was going to start Brian Thomas Jr. and then I was leaning Javante or Pearsall, but the tough matchup is fair for Javante. I think if Jennings is out, I go Pearsall, but if Jennings is playing, I think I'm going to go with Javante and just roll in the fire with him
Yeah,
and play Brian Thomas Jr.
Tyler Booker is such a significant difference maker in this
It's
offense.
true, yeah.
He was one of my favorite players I scouted in this year's combine, just out of all the prospects. His tape was one of the funnest to watch, especially the all 22 on what he does. He's a people mover through and through. Without him, Javante loses all value. I'm telling you right now, if you are one of the 784 people watching us simultaneously on YouTube and Twitter, and you own Javante Williams, sell high. Sell high because it's not going to be good until he gets BB back, which is like 4 weeks. And then Booker could be out next 2 to 4 weeks as well. So it's not good for Javante at all. Sell high, please. Astro says, how do you feel about this trade? Trades away Javante, Kamara,
There you go.
AJ, Hollywood, and get Henry, Dobbins, Devontae Adams. I'm not trading for Dobbins, so I don't like that trade. Dobbins' name is literally just kidding. JK, it's just kidding. Like, just kidding. I don't have an ACL, MCL, hardly have a contract, and I like ruining your fantasy football shares and bags of RJ Harvey. That's what JK stands for sure. But yeah, Javante is due for JK is due for an injury. Get anybody but JK, respectfully. With Pierce out, I think it could hit. I don't hate it, but I need to see it from Adonai first in order for me to want to put my money on it.
Yep.
Next game, fudge. Jacksonville Jaguars and my Brian Thomas Jr., they're 3.5-point dogs against the San Francisco 49ers with a higher implied point total than you'd anticipate, 46.5. This is in the 4 o'clock window, Eastern time. Do you like anything here?
Yeah, looking at this game, man. Juwan Jennings, obviously, this is a big question mark. I honestly, I like the laddering with Pearsall, just because he can make such big plays. So if you want to ladder like 50 plus, 60 plus, 70 plus, 80 plus, 90 plus, we've seen him with multiple 100-yard games this year already. So, and I love betting with ladders. Like, I love betting with ladders if you can make that happen. So with Pearsall, with his big play upside, all he needs is 1 or 2 big plays, and he could like crush a ladder for you. So if you want to go 50 all the way up to like 100-ish, like I'm happy with that. I think that's a great bet to make if Juwan Jennings is out.
Speaking of ladders, week 1, I laddered Bijan Robinson's receiving yards from 32.5 to 100 receiving yards, and they all hit.
Yeah, 100, yeah.
And then I also laddered Spencer Schrader's kicking field goals made. I laddered that up to 6 field goals, and I believe he had 4 or 5. So Spencer Schrader was my field goal kicker number 1 in week 1. I was the only person who called it. I didn't even know his name leading into that game. I was just like, who's the kicker for the Colts? It's like the Colts cannot score touchdowns at will because Daniel Jones is the quarterback, but that defense is so bad, so they're going to need to settle for kicks. Loved that analysis, and that was very, very, very lucrative. Baltimore Ravens, 2.5-point favorites against the Kansas City Chiefs, one of the higher implied point totals. 48.5. Game kicks off in Kansas City. Xavier Worthy is back. Zay Flowers is hopefully going to be a factor. It's like you're either going to get Zay Flowers or Rashad Bateman. I never took the Bateman. I have more bags of Zay Flowers, obviously. Mark Andrews coming off of an astronomical performance. Travis Kelce, yikes. So where are you at with this game? What do you like? What do you dislike? Is there any props that you're willing to bet on?
One thing I'm looking at, it's crazy that one of these two teams are going to be 1-3 to start the year.
Yeah.
One of these two teams are going to be 1-3 to start the season.
If I told you that at the beginning of the season, what would you have said to me?
Oh, you're crazy.
Yeah, 100%. And here we are.
1-3 is just nuts.
The Indianapolis Colts are 3-0, going on 4-0, and yikes.
Chiefs and the Ravens both are going to be, or not. Well, one of them will be 1-3, one of them will be 2-2. That's wild, man. But looking at Baltimore, their rush defense so far, they have some injuries on the defensive line now. They had a couple massive injuries this year, and they're currently allowed on the most fantasy points for running backs in the season. They're bottom 10 rushing yards allowed, rush attempts allowed. Like they cannot stop the run right now. And I know this Chiefs rushing offense hasn't been great. We've had a split between Kareem Hunt and Isaiah Pacheco, but Pacheco's line at 34.5 feels like a pretty solid bet to me. Pacheco, you don't like Pacheco?
I'm not. Listen, man. I told myself this in the offseason. I'm going to fade Pacheco because Joe Tooney's out. I'm going to bet on this passing offense, and I'm going to get free shares of Brashard Smith because down the stretch, when it matters most in your fantasy football championships and playoffs, you're going to get that Jared McKinnon role. I'm not betting on any of these running backs except for Brashard Smith the last 5 weeks of the season. So Pacheco, I've been out on him. I said that's probably the biggest fade that could bite me in the butt because of the schedule, and so far it hasn't. I'm not betting on Pacheco. I refuse to bet on Pacheco. But your analysis is bang on. Like, it's very advantageous across the board. 100%.
We saw 45 rushing yards last week on just 10 attempts. And if we see the Chiefs, because the Chiefs, the thing is, like, they're a smart team. If they find a hole, they're gonna keep attacking you. Like, they're just gonna go. And if they find that they can run the ball against this team, I think we see a plenty of rush attempts for Pacheco and Hunt. And Pacheco's one of those backs, man, where you start to get him going early. He is so physical. He is so violent. He is just going to beat up on defenses. We have a lot of smaller corners for the Ravens on the outside. We have a lot of holes in this defensive line right now with injuries. I think Pacheco has a really good game. I think we see at least a really half decent game, and 34.5 is a really low line. I'm going to just barely favor the over here.
Okay, so I love your breakdown. I will say this: when we see Lamar Jackson play better teams and better like just bigger time games with high implications, we always seem to see him tend to run the ball more. Like the Detroit Lions, I believe, was an anomaly performance. So his line at 48.5 seems borderline free, especially because we saw Justin Herbert and Jalen Hurts, both rushing quarterbacks, just go crazy on the ground. So I love that prop. And then Patrick Mahomes at 21.5 completions. I feel like he's going to need to matriculate the ball down the field a little bit more without the reliability of a reliable run game. So I love that prop as well. I like that as a parlay. I think there's a lot of juice if you were to parlay both of those props. We got some questions here. Christian Cardenas says, sick name, says, new to the channel. Thank you for joining. Thank you for subscribing. Full PPR, pick 2. Travis Etienne, Pollard, or Henderson? Thanks. I'm sitting Pollard.
Yep. Same here.
Okay. XRP 589. I want to say I love your name, and I got in on XRP at 33 cents. So that's also part of my retirement plan. Any interest in Shepard this week with Evans out and Godwin limited? Only in DFS.
Yeah, only in DFS, not really in regular fantasy lineups. There's probably not many teams I'd want to start him on.
Yeah. Baltimore and KC are going to tie. Imagine. They're going to tie. Fly Eagles 39. That's Caleb. That's my guy, Caleb. We love Caleb. He says they're going to tie it. That what a world we would be living in if that were to happen. What are the odds on them tying? Somebody please in the chat let me know what are the odds right now on them
tying.
It's a lot. I may put $5 on it. I may put $5 on it. It's probably very high, like plus 10,000.
For sure.
Yeah, let's just all put $5 on it, guys. NFL Week 4 matchup. We got the Chicago Bears 1.5 point dogs against the Las Vegas Raiders. The over/under is 48. I like the Bears straight up money line. I don't know why I like it because they're
I
still
do too.
really bad.
No, they look way too good right now.
Yeah, I like them straight up money line. Do you like the over or under in this game?
It's tough because the Bears offense looked so great last week, but it was against Dallas. The Raiders have a tendency to slow down games. I know we saw 41 points from the Commanders on them the week prior, but we saw this Chargers offense get slowed down to 20 points against this team. Geno Smith isn't playing too hot. This offense isn't moving the ball very well. I wouldn't be surprised. What's the over-under again? You said
48.
48. I wouldn't be surprised if this hits the under in this one. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw like a 24-20 kind of game.
Now, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Is this the get-right game for Ashton Genty?
Very well could be. The Bears defense has been on and off this year overall, but we need it. It's going to come soon, man. It's going to happen whether you like it or not. There's going to be a huge game for Genty coming up. It's just he's way too good. He's getting so much yards. Like he has 144 rushing yards this year, and 145 of them are after contact. And I said that right. Like he is just insane in terms of yards after contact. Right, he's creating everything.
He's averaging 0.2 yards before contact.
Yeah, it's just like what? Like you can't. You just
and like I told you guys, Ashton Genty's somebody I'm not drafting, but I'm definitely buying low on him right now. I just bought low on. Sure. I just bought low on him right now, in a fantastic dynasty trade. I traded away AJ Brown in dynasty. AJ Brown and who was the running Bucky Irving for Ladd McConkey. A first and Ashton Genty.
Oh my god! Oh yeah.
Great. This is big dynasty brains, and I'm not even a dynasty guy. But even Sleez is like a dynasty savant. Even he said he won that trade. Hell yeah. Here's why I love Ashton Genty this week, and this sounds weird for me saying this. When you look at the Chicago Bears, they allow the most rush yards to opposing running backs at 121 rush yards per game, like you alluded to earlier. Fourth most yards per carry at 5.34, so his longest carry is definitely in play as well. The fourth most rushing TDs, the eighth most receptions to opposing running backs. They allow 100% catch rate to running backs. 100% catch rates. They allow 5.33 targets, 5.33 receptions. So I love the over-unders receptions as well, even though he's not really in there on third downs. I think we still see him as a receiving back in certain situations on short scenarios. I like Ashton Genty to bounce back, then sell high.
It's a potential, yeah.
Yeah. Sure. PPR, would you guys sit either BTJ or Tet for Golden this week? Sitting Tet for Golden this week. Yes.
Yep, I would.
Yes, I would sit Tet, not BTJ. I'm not sitting BTJ, not for the world. Like I will own that L. Maybe to a fault. Maybe to a fault. All right. Sunday Night Football. We got the Green Bay Packers, 6.5 point favorites against.
We talk about Matthew Golden way too much.
Yeah, Matthew Golden over everything. And right now, if I just pull up his props, I'm just going to pull up his props real quick.
Dude, you can get 50 plus on a touchdown for like plus 375. Like I think that's nasty.
His receiving yards is at 47.5. Longest receptions is at 21.5. I think they're both free.
Yep. I agree.
So Matthew Golden, I'm also willing to flex low end, like low end flex, wide receiver 3 option, either Wicks or Romeo Dobbs. Now, I will say this: both of these tight ends in this game are S tier for me. It's a very advantageous matchup when you're looking at the quality of targets for tight ends against the Green Bay Packers. The Packers allow the second most targets, 9.67, the second most receptions, 7, third most receiving yards, 71, and 11th most yards per reception at 10.24. And we just saw somebody get hyper focused. This seems like the most common sense bet ever. Just bet the overs on the receptions for Tucker Kraft, which is at, they don't have the over on the reception prop anymore. Cool. They took that out. Sharp. I got it at 5.5. I smashed the over. Next game, we got anything else you want to talk about in that game?
No, man. I mean, that's good. That's good.
Yeah. Huham says I'm laddering all the golden bets. Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah.
Yeah, let's go.
We're so close. Land the plane. New York Jets, 3.5 point favorites, 3.5 point underdogs coming against note to self, make the writing more readable. Versus the Miami Dolphins over under 44.5. So make it smaller, make it more readable. What do you like in this game?
Yeah, 44.5 is too low of an over under to me. I think Fields comes back and brings an electricity to this offense. We saw it in week 1 against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and we know Miami can score too. We know that Tua can throw a lot and keep up in this game. We see Tyreek Hill and Jalen Wall making big plays, Devon Achane involved in the receiving game. I think that we see a lot here of scoring, a lot of offense, and as a result, I think we see the 44.5 gets smashed on the over side. And then also, I wonder what I didn't get to look at them. I didn't see them. Is Ollie Gordon's rushing props? What are they looking like? Because we saw him start to get involved in week 3, and I wonder. I mean, he looked fantastic on his carries. He looked really good, and he scored a touchdown. I would not be shocked at all if we continue to see heavy involvement. He has another good game in this one.
Not available currently, but what do you think about Brees Hall over 49.5 rushing yards?
I know he hasn't been very efficient this year, but I would want to take the over on that one. I mean, the Miami matchup is absolutely fantastic. And with Justin Fields back, it opens so many run lanes. And I think that Miami's defense will not be able to handle Brees Hall.
And what do you think about Devon Achane over 5.5 receptions?
I mean, he's been over, and I think the majority of the games this year, right? I'm taking the over there as well.
Yeah, my favorite bet is Tua over 1.5 passing touchdowns.
Yeah, I love that. That's fantastic. Yeah. What are the odds you get on that?
Minus 110.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Take that.
Decent coin. You got the NFL. I'm literally reading everything verbatim now. Cincinnati.
Yeah, week 4 matchups.
Our brain is fried. We're almost done. This is the last game, Rocky. It's an ugly
yeah, man.
Yeah, it's the last one. 7.5 point dogs, Cincinnati Bengals coming into Denver. The over-under is 44. Jake Browning is Joke Browning. It was absolutely terrible and tragic. What are we doing with our wide receiver bags of either Jamar Chase or T. Higgins?
You're not starting T. Higgins, and you're starting Jamar Chase and feeling terrible about it.
Yeah. And what about Chase Brown?
Where
Is
we're
this
at.
a right game for Chase Brown?
No. Chase Brown's hashtag not good.
Are we going to see J.K. Dobbins nuke, or are we going to see a little bit more R.J. Harvey usage? Because last week it was very enticing. Bidet, the guy who cleans butts, wasn't taking any touches. He wasn't taking any sort of significant snaps like he was the first 2 weeks. Last week, Bidet was non-existent. We saw a little bit more usage for R.J. Harvey in the receiving game. And even though we are still more encouraged by the R.J. Harvey usage, that was also the most snaps that we've seen J.K. Dobbins get. So what do we make of this backfield? Are we going to see R.J. Harvey break out this week?
I don't think so, man. Dobbins has looked too good. I think eventually it will be R.J. Harvey's backfield, but for now, Dobbins looks really well. And you're looking at a Cincinnati matchup that are 31st in fantasy points allowed to the running back position right now, and they're really, really bad in terms of efficiency allowed, in terms of big plays allowed to the running back position. I think they're just going to keep using Dobbins so the wheels fall off. There's no point in forcing your rookie out there if there is a vet that is making huge plays on a weekly basis for you. And we know Cincinnati's bad on defense, and this will likely be a higher scoring game. I think we can get some solid points here. I think Denver will get in the end zone at least a couple times.
So you mentioned that you really didn't get a chance to look at the Monday night slate when it came to bets. What would you like? Just out on a whim, what would you guess the receiving yardage for Evan Ingram's would be at, like, the line?
Oh, it's probably low. I mean, he's been like a 40% snap player, barely involved in the receiving game. 24.5?
17.5.
Oh, that's so low. Golly.
Yeah. And if you look at the tight end, this is why I have my notes, right? If you look at what Cincinnati allows, they allow the sixth most receptions to opposing tight end, 6.33, seventh most receiving yards, 59.33, 0.67 TDs allowed. This is a fantastic matchup for Evan Ingram. I feel like Evan Ingram hasn't been playing a significant amount of snaps and getting a lot of usage because of the injury that he sustained week 1. I think last week was a rest week. This week is the get right week. I think Evan Ingram could finish as a top 5 tight end, if not tight end 1 on the week. I love Evan Ingram this week.
Yeah, he could absolutely. And 17.5 is such a low bar. Like he can get there in just 2 receptions. Like that's that's where you can get with Evan Ingram. So I don't mind the dart throw play of a bounce back for Evan Ingram against a really good matchup.
And the freest prop on a weekly basis, guys, the freest prop on a weekly basis every single week is Bo Nix over 21.5 point completions. This guy loves matriculating the ball down the field. He is the check down king. He doesn't like to go deep. He likes to check it down. He likes to play safe. He likes to move the sticks. We're going to move the sticks and we're going to go feed the dogs. Guys, thank you so much for rocking with us. Hutch, 2 hours and 30 minutes of just talking ball, man. I could go all day with you, man. This felt like we were at George's again in Canton, Ohio.
Yeah.
Just talking ball until 2 a.m., but it's a little bit earlier right now. Thank you so much, man. Please let the folks know. We have 804 people watching simultaneously on Twitter and YouTube. And guys, like we're not just saying this like for the sake of saying this. This is a call to action. Hutch put in a lot of time, a lot of work. He is one of the sharpest minds that I could vouch for. Please, guys, where he says to go support him, you guys got to go and support him. Take a minute, go right now. The stream's over. So when he tells you guys the links, just please go support him right now. And thank you so much, Hutch. Let them know how to support you.
Thank you guys. I appreciate you, man. You can follow me on Twitter. I'm at HutchinsonB_FF. I'm actually have a little milestone. I might have crossed it during the show. I haven't checked. But I'm about to cross 9,000 on Twitter, which is pretty fun. So follow me over there on Twitter at HutchinsonB_FF. Make sure you check out my podcast, Hutch Coming in Clutch, over on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, wherever you listen to your podcasts. And I'm doing a lot of work for football guys this year, especially on the social media channels and on the Discord. So make sure you go hang out with me over there.
Yeah, guys, once again, I can't vouch for this guy enough. All right, we got a late question here at the buzzer.
Yes.
Shout out to you, Alex G. Need to. I'm 0-3 and playing the best team, so I'm desperate. T. Higgins, Trey Tucker, Henderson, Judy. I'm going to go Henderson and
upside,
T. Higgins.
Yeah. Henderson for sure. Oh gosh, oh man,
I know.
It feels gross playing T. Higgins. It really does. But I think you have clearly the most talented player, and Cincinnati's gonna have to throw a stay in this one. I think T. Higgins at least gets a few catches. So yeah, I think you go that direction. But Henderson's the locked in play.
Yeah, I'm not chasing the production from last week from Trey Tucker.
I'm not either. No.
Anyways, guys, Hutch, thanks once again. You're amazing. Thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for 2,000. I did not cry, but I am very grateful. I'm crying inside. I appreciate you guys from the bottom of my heart. You can catch me live tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. and we're going to stream to the very minimum. We're going to do a watch party covering the first game where we're watching the game in Ireland. But we're going to be answering your start sit questions to at least the first half. If we don't have a lot of people watching, then there's my wife. Hey, babe, what's up? Oh my God, 2K. Kobe is so that picture. That's my black lab, Kobe. That's him camping at Algonquin right now. Yeah. He's at Algonquin camping. They go. Congrats on 2K. Have a great Sunday. Thank you guys. So see you guys tomorrow at 9 a.m. Eastern time. We'll be live until at least halftime. If not, a lot of you are in there. Until next time, I'm Disco. This was Hutch in the Clutch. We'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Peace.